Well, termites.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
Just over halfway through the summer, Hyannis has played two different brands of baseball. Dominance on the road and difficulty at home after dropping a 6-2 decision to Orleans here at McKeon Park last night. Mitch Karraker's squad has fallen to 4-6 at home, allowing Falmouth to tie the Hawks for first in the West once again. Tonight, Hyannis looks for a win in front of the home crowd with the Wareham Gatemen coming into town. Hello, everyone from inside the broadcast booth. It's a Vest game. I'm Max Schwartzberg alongside Giovanni Collada and Graham Nash. Welcome to Harbor Hawks baseball. Well, guys, let's break down the pitching numbers for Hyannis. A team 4.42 earned run average on the road that goes for their 6-3 record, but then you bring it home here at McKeon Park, 5.32. And Graham, last night it was the free passes that really got to Hyannis.
Yeah, 7 walks against Orleans. You just can't have that, and it's been happening pretty consistently for Hyannis. Over their past 10 games, they've walked 54 different batters, and as a result, through their first 8 games, they had a 1-4-2 record. They've only won 2 of those 10 games, so it's really been the walks that have plagued them. But there's also been errors in the infield. There have been wild pitches. There have been hit batsmen. It's all just kind of crumbled for Hyannis on the defensive side specifically. The bats are still doing a pretty decent job, but the pitching is having a really, really hard time right now just keeping it within themselves. And you look at the whip numbers, I mean, it is sky high right now for Hyannis. They're in the bottom third of the Cape Cod Baseball League, and it's not necessarily because of the hits. It's all because of the walks.
And Gio, going to the starting pitching, the Hyannis starting pitching has actually been very impressive. The best ERA in the entire Cape League at 3.12. It's been the bullpen, the only bullpen in the Cape League to have an ERA north of 5.
The month of July in particular, Max, has not been kind to the Hyannis bullpen. Just take this as the example of that. There's only one opponent that Harbor Hawks have played this month that hasn't scored a run on them past the 5th inning, and that's the YD Red Sox, oddly enough, in which they've lost 2 games to this season. So the ERA numbers reflect that as well. They're 4th in the Cape League with ERA in the 1st to the 6th inning, but past the 7th, that figure plummets to 9th in the Cape League, and the bullpen has just had a really tough month so far, Max.
Well, before the game, I was able to catch up with Hyannis manager Mitch Karraker. Here with manager Mitch Karraker. Coach, earlier today it was announced that you'd be managing the West in the Cape League All-Star Game. It's only your 2nd season coaching on the Cape. What does this accomplishment mean to you?
Well, it's a testament to our guys last year. You know, the team that wins the division the year prior, that manager ends up managing the All-Star Game. So just grateful that I was with a good group of guys, good group of coaches last year, and they put me in this position. So it'll be a fun experience.
And going to today's game, you got Carson Yassa going on the hill. He's been really good this season. Your starting pitching has been really strong. What do you think's made Yassa so dominant? What do you want to see from him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talk about it all the time. Like, his stuff is really good, but beyond the stuff, his ability to command the strike zone has been really, really good. He's 96, 97 with a really good breaking ball. So, again, it's going to be about first pitch strikes, getting ahead, getting to his execution pitches that he can get guys out on. So, expect more of the same tonight.
And we're approaching that kind of final stretch before the All-Star break. What are some of the biggest adjustments you want to see your team make before you head into the break?
Yeah, I think just consistency, offense, defense, pitching-wise, just, limit the mistakes a little bit. Just play more consistent, clean baseball as we go into this last week before we hit a break.
Thank you so much, Coach. Guys. Graham, Mitch Karraker is just really looking for some consistency.
Yeah, I think it's consistency on both sides of the ball as well. It feels like when the bats have found their groove, the pitching is a little bit off. And on the other side of the coin, when the pitching has found its groove, the bats are totally dormant. They just can't put together a complete game right now. And I think that goes along with the consistency is a complete game. They need to do what they were doing so well in June, and that is dominate these baseball games, dictate how they're going to go from first pitch to the last swing of the bat. We haven't seen that from them in the entire month of July, and the results have shown because of it.
And speaking of consistency, Gio, tonight the All-Star lineups were announced in the Cape League.
And 4 Harbor Hawks are going to be on the roster for the West Division, along with the manager of the West Division in Mitch Karraker. Not listed on this graph, or it is up there, excuse me. But Tyler August, that first name, very interestingly, he has had a up and down season, but he very much deserves this honor. He struck out as many as 6 in a game. That ERA is probably a bit higher than you'd see from given what he's put together this season, Max. He's endured some difficult innings, but make no mistake that he's done a remarkable job out of the bullpen for Hyannis. He's another guy that's been here since day one, along with Ryan Speciak and Ryan McKay. Speciak's been the bona fide closer for this team, a couple of 5-out saves this season to go along with a 1.69 ERA. Ryan McKay nearly led the Cape League for a whole week in average. That's down to 342, but it was as high as 390 this season, Max. And Jackson Willits, an All-Star for the second year in a row after he was an All-Star with Falmouth last summer, team's leader in walks, and you see with that OPS figure that he just gets on base.
Well, you just mentioned Tyler August. He was one of 2 guys who had a big impact in last night's game, along with newcomer Devin Mitchell. Our sideline reporters Ethan Wax and Ava Fernandez were able to catch up with August and Mitchell.
Ava Fernandez alongside Tyler August. And Tyler, you came in last night as our relief pitcher. What was the pressure kind of like coming in at the mound that time?
It was tough because it was bases loaded, but I just want to throw strikes and try to help Mason out as much as I could.
Yeah, and you did end up really making that out. How did you kind of approach that?
Just try to throw strikes, attack, and just try to put the team in the best situation.
And you just got selected as an All-Star from the Cape Cod League. How was that feeling like for you?
It was fun. I was happy. Mitch called me over and told me, and we had a good convo. And it's exciting. A lot of good players here, so it's exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, and that feeling is amazing. But it kind of is just such a big accomplishment. What do you think is your biggest accomplishment, kind of being out here so far?
I think just getting better every day. There's a lot of stuff to work on here. Playing extra baseball, so it's always fun. Just developing and becoming a better pitcher in person here.
Yeah. Well, great job yesterday, and thank you so much.
Thank you, you too.
Back to you guys.
Hi, Devin. Nice to see you. Alongside Devin Mitchell, outfielder for the Harbor Hawks. Why did you decide to join this team at this point in the season?
So I wasn't previously scheduled to play in the Cape Cod. Actually, I was supposed to play in the Appy League, and I moved up to Raleigh for NC State, and I was hanging out with the coaches, and Harbor Hawks hit up them, and then they said they needed an outfielder, and they were like, hey, man, we have an opportunity for you to come out here and play in the Cape, and I was like, I can't pass that up, so.
And what does it mean to you that you took sort of playing on the Cape as opposed to the App League?
It's definitely a step up. Like, the pitching out here and all the competition is top of the notch. There's nothing much better, and it's truly a special opportunity to be able to play in this league, and I'm having a great time.
And you started out with a bang with a home run in your first game ever playing here at the Cape. What does that mean to you?
It was awesome. I kind of blacked out right when it happened, but I wasn't even supposed to play yesterday, and our center fielder ended up getting sick mid-game, and they said, Devin, hop right in there, and I was like, okay, and didn't really think about it much. I was just trying to calm myself down, my heart rate, and lo and behold, hit a bomb.
And sort of what adjustments did you have to make? Because as you said, you weren't planning to play, and now you're thrown in the action immediately off notice. So what would you say is the biggest adjustment in that?
I knew I had to not get big and just take it pitch by pitch, because I haven't seen a live arm since May 30th, something like that. And I knew I couldn't stress about it too much and just go out there and relax and see the ball and just put the bat on the ball, and that's what I did.
Thank you for your time today, and good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks very much, Ava and Ethan. First pitch between the Wareham Gatemen and Hyannis Harbor Hawks coming up in just a moment.
I think, Dean, they're allowing you to find your own success and your own true independence.
Dean is a whole group of all different kinds of people and communities.
Since I've come to Dean, I've learned a lot of time management skills.
Our community is especially tight-knit, and the majority of our students live on campus. And you are guaranteed 4 years of housing while you attend Dean.
Dean is just full of opportunities for you to embrace, to welcome, so you can change yourself to who you want to be and form your career for the future.
So go through that, all right? Think that way.
Be a bulldog. Have a bulldog mentality in everything you do in life, whether you're playing sports or in the classroom or just socializing around campus.
When it comes to delicious food, the best place to start is with great appliances. And CAM Appliances is your one-stop shop for any budget with brands like Thermador, Viking, Bosch, GE, and so much more. CAM Appliances, sales, delivery, installation, and service in the heart of your home, with locations in Hyannis, Nantucket, and Hanover.
State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
Back here at McKeon Park, we'll take you through the visiting Wareham Gatemen batting order as penciled in. Braden Randall to lead it off with Levi Clark batting second. How about a 1231 OPS on the road? That leads all qualified hitters in the Cape League. Hunter Carnes, who's been excellent in limited playing time. Colby Turner batting fourth with Chase Cruson batting fifth. Easton Breifogel in that sixth spot. Vance Shahan in the seventh hole with Landon Striplin batting eighth and Hayden Yost batting ninth. And on the mound for the Harbor Hawks, Carson Yasa, who's been stellar to start the summer. A 1.5 earned run average, whip at 1.33, so he's had a little bit of trouble with runners, but just in 12 innings, he's been dominant, Gio.
He sure has, and it's been with the gas, Max. That's been his best pitch all summer long. It's topped out at 99 this summer. He also throws in a curveball and a slider. How about the difference between that max 99 on the fastball and the max curveball of 81 this year from the Nebraska Cornhusker? And the interesting thing, Max, that we've talked about all summer long is he makes start number 3 of the summer, is Yasa's height. He's 6'7", 225. That's an imposing figure atop the bump, and to throw that that hard as well makes him a very difficult combination to hit.
And despite that great fastball and the ability to pepper the zone, you are right, Max, that he's had walk issues. He's walked at least one batter in every single appearance. That includes 3 relief appearances. In his last appearance against Brewster, he walked 4. That's the second time that he's walked 4 batters in a given appearance. So that's going to be what we look for when judging this start for him, is how is he doing commanding the zone, especially early, and especially with that fastball that is such a weapon.
Absolutely, and something interesting is that this lineup is very much similar to what we saw on opening day on June 14th. Not a lot of changes. Of course, a couple new guys in there, but the core is still the same for Wareham, so a lot of team chemistry to play with right there for the Gatemen.
It sure is, Max. The lineup is eerily similar. To list a few names that were on this opening day lineup. Hayden Yost, Van Shehan, Colby Turner, Chase Cruson is in the lineup, Braden Randall as well. A lot of similar names. The Gatemen have had that consistency all summer long. Let's see if it can make a profit for him.
Braden Randall to lead it off. He was 0 for 3 against Hyannis on opening day. He's coming off a 2 for 4 performance against Bourne yesterday. Average over 300. The Gatemen, one of the better hitting teams on the Cape at 246. OPS at 710. Of course, Hyannis leading the entire Cape League in average and OPS. But a lot of that carrying over from that really hot start in June. On a 2-0 pitch, Randall takes on the inside corner. There's that fastball from Yasa that tops out in the high 90s. Randall teammates with Hayden Federico at Ole Miss. A rising junior now for the Rebels. Fastball gets the corner, and he works it even.
Really good back-to-back pitches from Yasa. A little all over the place to begin his first 2, but there he's peppering the outsides of the zone, painting it really, really well.
In the air to center field, Charlie Bates straight away. Backs up for a few steps for out number 1. Take you through the defensive positioning for Hyannis. You just saw Charlie Bates in center field. On the corners, Devin Mitchell and Sawyer Black, third to first, Ray Velasquez, Jake Schaffner, Ryan McKay, and Gabe Camacho, and Stone Lawless, the battery with Yasa. And after that hot day, Jeff Luigi, who was at second base yesterday, getting the day off in the field. He's at DH, Gio.
He sure deserves a day off from the field, and only to focus on a hitting streak for him that's been very impressive since that single in the 9th inning against Falmouth. He goes the 3 for 3 performance with a triple.
Clark takes strike 1. He has been unbelievable this summer for the Gatemen. This is his 19th game, but that average at 343, OPS over 1,000 with 4 home runs. A dangerous hitter against Yasa, but Carson jumps ahead 0-2. Clark was 3 for 5 with a double last night against Bourne. And this is kind of the part of the order for the Gatemen that is red hot during this stretch of the summer. He checked his swing, and he went around. Strikeout number 1 of the day for Carson Yasa, and 2 quick outs.
So difficult to hit when you have that fastball, but also the ability to tunnel it with a slider or a curveball. We saw the breaking ball early in that count, and Max, when you have a fastball that dials up that high, if that's working for you, go to it early, and that's exactly what Yasa does here to freeze him.
Well, I mentioned this part of the order has been hot. Hunter Carnes at the plate is no exception. He's only played in 11 games, but he's hitting 400 flat with 4 doubles and 1 home run. OPS over 1,100. The Gatemen have found their footing offensively, at least as of late. Fly ball to right field. Sawyer Black drifting over and under. Out number 3. A scoreless 1-2-3 top of the first inning. We'll head to the bottom half from McKeon Park.
So I think, Dean, they're allowing you to find your own success and your own true independence.
Dean is a whole group of all different kinds of people and communities.
Since I've come to Dean, I've learned a lot of time management skills.
Our community is especially tight-knit, and the majority of our students live on campus. And you are guaranteed 4 years of housing while you attend Dean.
Dean is just full of opportunities for you to embrace, to welcome, so you can change yourself to who you want to be and form your career for the future.
So go through that, all right? Think that way.
Be a bulldog. Have a bulldog mentality in everything you do in life, whether you're playing sports or in the classroom or just socializing around campus.
Gatemen don't score in the top of the first inning, and we'll take you through the home lineup as penciled in for Mitch Karraker and his Harbor Hawks. Jake Schaffner, the familiar leadoff spot with Jeff Luigi batting second. Ryan McKay in the 3-hole with Devin Mitchell, the newcomer who homered in his first at-bat. Batting cleanup, Gabe Camacho batting fifth with Charlie Bates. Boy, has he been good. He's hitting .357 when trailing in count, tied first among qualified hitters. Stone Lawless at the 7-hole with Sawyer Black and Ray Velasquez. A very good starting lineup for Hyannis, and one that we've seen a lot more righties in.
Yeah, this is one of the first times all summer we've seen more than 2 righties in the lineup, Max, but also the first time in a while we haven't seen a single switch hitter in this lineup with both Jason Walk and Jackson Willits out of the lineup. And the interesting thing to me is not only the fact that Jeff Luigi gets the DH tonight for just the second time this summer, Max, but the fact that he hasn't batted higher than 4th in his 8 games on the Cape so far, and now he gets the 2 spot after a 3-for-3 performance last night with an RBI triple.
Well, on the hill for the Gatemen, Josh Butler, who pitched against Hyannis on June 20th. He went 2 innings with 2 hits, no runs, but a 1.26 earned run average in 14 1/3 innings. Last time out was against Falmouth on July 5th. 3 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, only 2 earned. But he's been one of those pitchers in the Cape League that has just given a lot of hitters trouble.
He was just named an All-Star as well, only making his 2nd start tonight, Max. And how about the eerie symmetry between him and Carson Yassa with fastballs in the upper 90s, but also with the exact same measurables. Both are 6'7", 225. So a couple of imposing figures on the hill. We'll see if Butler can respond to Yassa's 1-2-3 frame here.
Josh Butler, teammates with Brody Briggs at Arizona State as Jake Schaffner digs in. And there's strike 1. Schaffner, a couple hits yesterday. He had a double and a couple singles. The 3-hit night for Jake out of the top spot of the order. Outside for ball 1.
And that's kind of what we've been waiting to see from Jake Schaffner, at least since he came back from injury. He had 2 multi-hit performances before he got hit in the hand at Falmouth. But after that, it was a lot of offers, 3 offers, and then he got 1 hit against Bourne. Last night was the first time that we saw Jake Schaffner kind of explode in a way that we had seen earlier in the season.
Well, sometimes just when you miss time, it's not even necessarily recovering from the injury. You just kind of lose out of your rhythm when you're at the plate. It's such a game that relies on how you're feeling. If you're getting in your groove, and when you're missing upwards of a week and a half as Jake did, it took him a little bit of time to adjust right back into it, Graham.
That's exactly right, and I think part of it, too, is that when you're in this kind of league, there's a lot of pressure to perform coming back from injury, and so I think that he probably just put a lot of pressure on himself more than anything to do that.
3-2 outside for ball 4, and a good start to the bottom of the first inning for Hyannis.
And Graham, to close that point, I think what's most impressive about what Schaffner's done specifically is that a lot of players in his specific situation, on the way to a new school at North Carolina, you suffer that kind of injury that can be really dangerous in that part of the hand. A lot of those guys don't come back or don't try to come back. So good on him for wanting to stick it out with Hyannis.
Jeff Luigi had 3 hits yesterday as well, like Schaffner did, including an RBI triple back in the 5th inning. And Luigi, another one of those guys that, since he came in about 2 weeks after opening day, it took him a couple games to get really into the swing of things, and then now he's on fire.
He's already played in as many games here on Cape Cod.
On the ground left side, hit slowly. Van Shahan flips to second for 1. The throw to first is in time. 6-4-3 on the twin killing, and the leadoff walk is erased.
Well, check out this baseball just take a weird hop off the mound. You can't really see it there, but it directed it right to Shahan at short, and that made his job so much easier instead of having to range over and get it, which in that case, Luigi might have beat out the throw.
And to wrap up that thought, Max, he's already played in as many games here on Cape Cod as he did in all of last spring with Duke.
Ryan McKay, who was named an All-Star earlier today, takes downstairs. 342 average. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, that got as high as 390. But he has been a pleasant surprise for Mitch Karraker.
He sure has.
In the air foul off to the left, out of play.
But, Max, it hasn't been for the reason that I think Mitch Karraker would have presumed, is after Ryan McKay led Michigan State in walks last year, only 14 strikeouts in nearly 200 at-bats, second lowest strikeout rate in the Big Ten. That's not necessarily the part that's surprising anybody. What's surprising a lot of people is that he leads this team in hits and has only worked 4 walks in now 18 games.
Behind in the count, 1-2 here. Butler gets the call in the inside corner. He gets away. Levi Clark going to try to throw out McKay. He will. And that is a minimum faced inning for Josh Butler. We'll head to the top of the second inning for McKeon Park.
You can make any bat feel lighter by adding a velo puck knob. Instead of having to go get a whole entirely new bat, you can simply add the puck to it. Players can use this with any bat. It's basically going to shift the weight of the bat a little bit more towards the hands. Players are able to hit the ball a lot harder just by simply adding the puck on.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
The lights at McKeon Park stay bright all season long thanks to the NAC Cape Cod. The NAC offers 2 locations, Hyannis and Orleans, both offering delicious burgers, tacos, sandwiches, and more. Visit thenacapecod.com to order online today. The NAC Cape Cod is proud to be the Light Up the Park sponsor of the Harbor Hawks all season long. Here in the top of the second inning, Carson Yassa going out after a nice 1-2-3 frame against a red-hot part of the order, Gio. We talked about in that first inning, this is probably the best baseball that 3 has played all summer long.
It is indeed, and the Gatemen are on a 2-game win streak after falling behind Hyannis by as many as 8 points this season. It's a Wareham team that last came here to McKeon Park and really started to get hot after an 0-3 start to the summer. In the game they played here at McKeon Park on June 20th. That was a 6-run win for the Gatemen. Since then, it's been a lot of up and down baseball for Wareham, but recently they're beginning to find their legs.
Colby Turner has played in both games against Hyannis this season. He's 1 for 7 against the Harbor Hawks at the plate, and he comes in with a .286 average. Second on the team with 3 home runs. On the outside corner, count level at 1. Turner, a returner to the Gatemen, played in 35 games last summer. A .240 average, .647 OPS, so this summer, much better. OPS over .860. This is down and away. But another Big Ten guy at Michigan. On the hands and fouled off to the right. Stone Lawless giving chase, but he's got no play. This past spring at Michigan, 45 games, a .238 average, OPS at .774. But he transferred from San Diego State after an illicit freshman year. OPS at .999, just 1 point under 1,000. 2-2, that might have gotten a piece of him, but it actually hit Stone Lawless's glove.
And Turner just kind of looking for a little bit of a turnaround right now. He's 1 for his last 9 at the plate. That's stretching back to the 8th of the month against Brewster. So he hasn't really had much success as of late. He's still in the cleanup spot, which means that this Wareham team has a lot of confidence in him. He just needs to run with it.
And he's way out ahead of the 3-2. There's strikeout number 2 of the day for Carson Yassa here in the second.
Not surprised to see high strikeout numbers early from Carson Yassa. It's a hallmark of Hyannis' season thus far, as the Hawks lead the league in Ks, bouncing back and forth with Falmouth. But for Yassa, in each of the last 4 appearances, 2 of them have been starts, he struck out 3 or more. And in those starts, 6 strikeouts and then 5 strikeouts in back-to-back.
Chase Cruson started against Hyannis on opening day on the 14th, but he came in as a pinch hitter here at McKeon Park on June 20th. Walked in that plate appearance. Has been kind of in and out of the starting lineup. He's been used as a pinch hitter a lot this year, and he grounds one to second. Ryan McKay spins and fires in time. Nice play, McKay, and out number 2.
It looked like Ryan McKay nearly fell down as he was going to glove that ball. He was moving so quickly to his left and tried not to dive, which he didn't, but actually he almost fell down in doing so, but was able to stay on his feet. A really strong, just athletic play from the second baseman.
Lost the glasses. Don't matter.
Easton Breifogel for the first time tonight. He also looking to go 1-2-3 in his first 2 frames of work. This is only the 6th game played for Breifogel this summer. And both these teams came into this game with kind of similar hallmarks, at least in the pitching side of things. Both entering with a 5.1 walks per 9, the top of the Cape League. So far, Yassa has looked good. On the corner, 2-1.
And for Hyannis, at least, the walks kind of inflate as soon as the relievers seem to step on the mound. The starters have done a really good job, but the story of July has been that the bullpen hasn't been able to lock it down for him.
Check to swing. Did he go? Yes, he did.
Just take yesterday, Graham, as an example of that. Against Orleans, there were only 2 walks in the first 4 innings. From the 5th on, there were 5. And that's just indicative of how this bullpen has struggled to find the zone, seemingly as the 5th inning flips into the scoreboard.
2-2. Fastball on the outside corner. Strike 3 called. A bookend of strikeouts here in the second inning. 3-0 for Carson Yassa. Scoreless as we head to the bottom of the second.
Get ready for big results with our small machines. With more power, performance, comfort, and savings. They are ready for every job. And we're ready with plenty of inventory, the best support in the business, same-day parts availability, and locations across the Northeast. So you can always be ready to work. Milton CAT, always ready.
If you can dream it, if you can cruise in it, if you can summer in it, fish from it, or take it for a day at the beach, we can protect it. The Baldwin Group, protecting the possible.
For each Harbor Hawks home run hit this season here at McKeon Park, $50 is donated to the Family Pantry of Cape Cod by Monomoy Real Estate and Construction and Pretty Picky Property Select Vacation Rentals. Pretty Picky and Monomoy, the team with everything you need to hit a real estate home run on Cape Cod. It's time for that Who's That Harbor Hawk clue. And what do we got here tonight? I'm on a heater. He played for the Padres in 2022, so I feel like I can get this one.
First of all, I appreciate the difficulty meter. I got this one as well. I think this one's going to be pretty easy for the Twitter audience that's been playing along quite successfully in the last couple of weeks. But, yeah, this guy had a pretty strong tenure with the A's.
This guy admitted to not trying that hard when he was on the Padres in 2022? He said he just didn't try that hard.
Oh.
So I'm not a fan of this guy, actually.
But I think moderately easy. I like that. I think that if you're a baseball fan, it'd be somewhat easier than for the casual observer, but I really appreciate the difficulty meter.
Devin Mitchell, who started his Cape League career last night with a bang, came in for Jason Walk defensively and stayed in the game as the hitter. Homered in his first AB. He said he blacked out going around the bases. It was just such a cool moment.
For a guy, Max, especially, that has not played Power 4, or rather, Division I baseball, much less Power 4 baseball, as he's headed to NC State from Florence Darlington Tech in Florence, South Carolina.
2-0 in there.
For him to have that moment against some of the best competition in the country on a team that's first place in this Superior Collegiate League, got to be very special and just a jolt of confidence for him as he joins the Wolfpack.
And it was a really lengthy at-bat, too. Really impressive. Reach for and poke down the left field line. Will it stay fair? No, it will not. Heads-up play by Colby Turner.
Yeah, Colby Turner's so smart because Mitchell was going to beat that out. If Turner went for the play and tried to beat out the runner, it was going to be a late throw. So unfortunate for Devin Mitchell that it just kind of took a leftward bounce on the lip of the grass right by the dirt, and that was eventually what pushed it across the line. But for a second there, it looked like Mitchell was going to have one of those swinging bunts. Just kind of didn't quite go in his favor.
And like you said, Graham, the perfect swinging bunt where it just dribbles over and has a bit of topspin to roll towards the third base bag, but again, just catches a weird blade of grass. And now back for a 2-2.
On the outside corner, a delayed strike 3 called from Robert McHugh. Out number 1 here in the second inning.
This is back-to-back Ks from Josh Butler as well, and this is just a pinpoint location with a fastball. Lower left corner to a righty. It'd be a very difficult swing to even get a tip of the bat on that to foul it back, Max. And Mitchell with a take that he's probably happy with, but a better location from Josh Butler.
Gabe Camacho for the first time tonight. He has really seen consistent playing time, especially since the departure of Miles Bailey in late June. We mentioned that he was with the team for long before he was activated. I believe his first time was June 17th at Chatham, and he's out ahead. Rather, the first time being with the team, taking batting practice, and he was only activated about a week and a half later.
Right, he didn't play till June 27th at Orleans, and that's just a really odd situation. Don't see that a lot where you have a guy almost in reserves that's just here and taking BP with the team, gelling with them early. It can be pretty beneficial. And we've seen it work for him this year. He's had a pretty solid start to the summer with hits in every game but 4. And for Camacho, I think the most interesting part is the fact that he only has walked once this year.
He's ahead in the count, 3-1 here. And that will pull Colby Turner into the shift. The third baseman heads to the right side of the infield. So the shortstop, Vance Shahan, the only infielder on the left side for Wareham. That left field line is wide open for Gabe Camacho. On a 3-1 pitch, Camacho takes out the top of the zone. One for 3 last night. And he launches to right. It's deep and high with Cruson back, and he makes the catch. Just missed it. And there's out number 2.
He just missed it, as you said, Max. A beautifully timed swing. You can even see with the path of that swing, he's just a bit under it. And Cruson with a long way to track in right field. If you got the wind blowing at you, if you're the batter, as it has the last couple of home games on the flag in right center, Max, it might give it the extra push it needs to leave the park.
Well, Charlie Bates, the white-hot Charlie Bates, up for the first time tonight. He snapped that big 0-for-19 skid last Sunday against Brewster with the triple, and since then, he's looked like a different ball player. I said it, I believe in Falmouth, he got his swagger back, and he's just super confident in the box. It's awesome to see.
To be frank, Max, he looks like the player he was when he first got here. Because Bates had a very strong start to the summer with hits in 3 out of 4 games to begin. Or rather, that's 4 out of 5. And a couple clutch hits as well in that game, in that win over Falmouth. That was his last hit on that streak. before he began to spiral out of control with the strikeouts. And it just seemed like that triple in Brewster on July 6th changed everything for him. The confidence, the approach at the plate, the swing decisions felt stronger because he had that confidence back.
And we've said it, and it's true, that it only takes one, really. You know, a lot of times it's a little bloop single that gets it going. Bates, it was a well-earned triple, and a long time coming, because before that he had a lot of really good ABs. He strikes out looking here, a bookend of strikeouts for Josh Butler. We'll through two. We'll head to the top of the third.
When you need to dig, lift, move, cut, or just about anything else, then dial up the rental source staffed with equipment and construction experts. They'll help you get the right machine for the job and make sure it's delivered when and where you need it. With locations across New England and the newest and most reliable inventory, Milton Rents is your local source.
When I started teaching on the Cape 30 years ago, you could buy a house on a teacher's salary. But today, teachers, public safety officers, healthcare and hospitality workers, the people who make the Cape work, are struggling to find homes they can afford. And I really worry about the kids who will follow us. I think it's time we learn to do better.
If housing on Cape Cod matters to you, join us at capehousingmatters.org.
Top of the third inning, let's take a look at the Cape League standings as we approach the All-Star break, kind of the final stretch. Brewster has overtaken YD in the East. YD was atop the East for pretty much the whole season, but Brewster, they've been on a heater with 27 points. Harwich and Chatham and Orleans, kind of the bottom feeders of the East, but that's a very competitive division. You head out to the West. Hyannis and Falmouth knotted at first place with 23 points. Bourne and Wareham and Katuitt to end it. And again, we've said it a couple days ago, but nobody's really run away with anything this season. It's been impressive to see how close everything has been.
And that's a reversal from last summer, Max, where in last year on July 11th, Falmouth was, or rather today's July 12th, Falmouth was in last by 15 points in the West. Wareham was first. Hyannis was third at that point in the summer. Fast forward to a year, and you see the parity across both sides of the league. The number that jumps off the page to me, Max, is the fact that Orleans would be third in the West, and they're last in the East.
Van Shahan, right-handed hitter, who has started both games against Hyannis this year. It's been a tough summer for him, a .532 OPS. He checks his swing and goes around. Outside for ball one. Yasa has had complete command of the strike zone, at least earlier. And we've talked about the starting ERA. It's really daunting. And that number you brought up, Gio, at the top of the show about just the amount of runs that Hyannis gives up after the sixth inning. It also just takes the momentum out of the bats when you think about the way that the pitching responds when they're doing well later in games.
The weird thing about that number, though, Max, is that it doesn't change a whole lot. From innings 1 to 6, it's at 4.4.
Upstairs for ball two.
And past the seventh inning, the ERA only jumps to 4.48, yet the difference is in the standing in the league, showing what the other teams are doing in similar situations. That 4.40 number from 1 to 6 is 4th. The 4.48 is 9th.
Swung through and held on to by Stone Lawless on the foul tip. How about back-to-back strikeouts in 4-all for Carson Yasa?
Yasa looks so good, and it all started with that fastball. He did such a good job pinpointing it. Now his breaking ball is doing all the hard lifting for him. Shahan was so far late on that swing. He looks so cool, calm, and collected.
Landon Stripling takes strike one. Yasa entered this start with 17 strikeouts in 12 innings. That's a 12.8 strikeouts per 9. The walks were really high, though. Of course, so far, so good. And for Mitch Karraker, and we talked about it, he's just looking for some consistency, and the starting pitching has had that. But it's about the holistic view of the pitching staff for Hyannis. 1-1 on the outer half.
Yasa is one of a few now that's given Hyannis a pretty good start on the defensive side. It will come down to relievers. That's the next question. But for Carson Yasa, we said that it was going to be the walks that would indicate how well this start would go for him. And for him to not have one, that's a very good sign because he's coming off a start against Brewster where he allowed 4.
Well, full count here. Chop to first base. Gabe Camacho will take it to the bag himself for out number 2.
And that's a great example of what Yasa has done so well. Breaking ball, bottom of the zone, but started it where Stripling was going to pretty convincingly swing because it's a 3-2 count. You're thinking swing at that point if anything starts in the zone, which the 12-6 is going to, and it bends down. He gets that weak contact and forces that ground ball down the first base line.
Hayden Yost deposits one into right field for the first hit of the game.
Well, Hayden Yost, a guy that Hyannis saw in the first game of the season do some damage, only reached on an error in that game, but put multiple good swings on the ball. And here he just torches one off Yasa into right field. After nearly facing the minimum through 9 batters, that's really the first mistake he's made so far.
Braden Randall led off the game, flying out to Charlie Bates in center field. Now Yasa going to have to work with a runner on base for the first time tonight. And that one gets spiked into the backstop. Yost rounds second. Hyannis, during this kind of skid they've gone through, have really struggled with wild pitches. They had one last night, but a couple nights ago they had multiple, especially in that Bourne game. Well, that one just clearly slipped out of the hands.
And it feels like it's kind of a theme, Max, for this entire skid that they've been on in the month of July, where the starting pitcher will, within the microcosm of his outing, start off very well and falter later. Take Richie Roman against Falmouth on July 9th. He faces one above the minimum through 9 batters, then faces another 1-2-3 in the 4th before allowing all that damage in the 5th.
2-0 pitch coming up to Randall. And it's in the dirt.
And it's been mistakes such as wild pitches, hit batsmen, especially walks and errors that have been the springboard for opponents to take advantage of Hyannis pitching, especially the second time through.
Well, all 3 misses in this at-bat have gone to pretty much the exact same spot. And that's upstairs for ball 4. Yasa came into this game with 12 walks in 12 innings pitched. And his luck has run out here in the 3rd inning. There's the first free pass of the day for Hyannis.
And in situations and at-bats like those that have given Hyannis' opponents so many opportunities. Over the last 5 games, opponents have had 4 of the last 5 opponents have had double-digit chances with runners in scoring position. And it's been because of the wild pitches. It's been because of the walks. Hyannis pitching just seems to be a little rattled.
Breaking ball upstairs. That's now 5 consecutive balls thrown by Carson Yasa. Hayden Yost on second, Braden Randall on first. And pretty much the best hitter on Wareham at the plate in Clark. As mentioned, that OPS over 1,000 through 18 games this summer. Clark teammates with the guy behind the plate, Stone Lawless at Tennessee. And in his freshman year in the SEC, how about a 1.053 OPS with 10 home runs? And a big swing at the 1-1.
And the scariest thing, I think, for opponents is the fact that he's only a rising sophomore with hits in his last 9 games here on the Cape. How about hits in 11 of his last 12 as well? He's just been super, super dangerous.
1-2 to Clark. Catches him looking. 5 strikeouts on the day for Carson Yasa, and he strands 2 here in the 3rd inning. We'll head to the bottom half, but before we do, our very own Ethan Wax joins us.
It's Max. As the Harbor Hawks have slipped into a first-place tie with Falmouth due to a 10-game stretch where the team has gone just 2-6-2, The statistics tell the tale of why the team has been struggling recently, and the problems have occurred at both the plate and on the mound. During the first 11 games of the season, the Hawks averaged scoring nearly 6 runs per game, which led the league in scoring. However, over the last 10 games, the team has averaged 4 runs per game, among the lowest in the league. The team clearly misses the power bats of Andrew Williamson and Chris Rembert, as it has averaged just over 1 extra base hit in the last 5 games. Williamson and Rembert still lead the team in home runs with 3 each, despite appearing in just 15 and 5 games respectively. When the two sluggers played together, the Hawks averaged more than 3 extra base hits per game. The pitching and sloppy fielding hasn't been able to compensate for the slumbering bats, as the team has yielded 6 runs per game during the slump, and only Wareham has yielded more runs this season than the Hawks. Once again, the departures of key pitchers Trey Beard, Sandy Garcia, and Eric Hofberg, who combined to hurl more than 23 scoreless innings this season, is being felt on the mound. In my conversation with team general manager Nick Johnson yesterday, he highlighted the challenges that the roster transition has created. Now the question is, who on the team is going to step up to replace the lost production? Perhaps the guys in the booth can figure it out. Guys, back to you.
Thanks very much, Ethan. And it's definitely that time of the summer where things become a little bit influx, but Stonewall is going to lead it off. It'll be 7-8-9, and Graham, the fastball for Josh Butler, only sitting 86 to 87, and this is a Hyannis team that is a fastball hitting team. We've mentioned first in the Cape League in average and OPS. Maybe it's just the velocity change that they're having some trouble with.
I think that's got to be it, because Hyannis has hit the fastball better than any team, it feels like, this season, and yet they're hitless in this ball game.
Checked his swing, and did he go? Yes, he did. Glenn Stewart rung him up at first base.
My thought is that part of the trouble could be Butler's got a really nice breaking ball. He's got a great 12-6 motion on that curve. And so maybe something that could be happening is that it comes in at a similar speed.
And a foul tip off of the catcher, Levi Clark. That's got to sting. Teammate on teammate crime. 2 backstops at Tennessee.
Not just teammate on teammate crime, but within the same unit for the Volunteers and Tony Vitello, a couple of his battery mates, along with former Harbor Hawk Cannon Peebles.
Some professional courtesy by the home plate umpire, Robert McHugh. Lawless has quietly had a really nice summer so far, hitting at 292 with an average OPS over 800. And that'll go up right there after the hit by pitch. That's the first base runner to reach, despite the walk back in the first, but potentially one above the minimum here. And Sawyer Black coming up to the plate. First pitch upstairs. Black has been pretty good so far for Hyannis. A little bit of a slow stretch after a hot start, but it's been the strikeout numbers. 3 out of 5 games with multiple strikeouts at the plate. And that's what's been his plague early on. Down in the dirt, nice stop by Levi Clark. That'll keep Lawless at first base. The average below 200. The OPS still pretty high at 745 because he's been slugging. A meeting at the mound between Levi Clark and Josh Butler.
And the big problem, as you mentioned, Max, for Sawyer Black has been the strikeouts. He's got 3 of his 5 games on the Cape so far with multiple Ks, including 4 strikeouts on July 8th against Bourne. And this is a player that only played sporadically this past spring with a hamate bone injury that kept him out for nearly 30 games. So he's just getting back into the swing of things after eventually returning to North Carolina.
Way out ahead of the 2-0. He pulled the string. Black only played in 16 games at UNC his freshman year, but he homered in 3 of those 16. And that's on the inside corner. Count level at 2. Josh Butler had a 4.73 ERA in 32 1/3 innings at ASU. But the hits were very high, more hits than innings pitched. Black grounds one to first, and it's into the outfield. Stone Lawless is rounding second. He'll throw the brakes on as they get it in quickly. Nice cutoff by Chase Cruson, but the Hawks have something brewing here in the last of the 3rd inning.
Really good hit. It kind of went straight into the grass and would have been playable for Stripling if he was a little bit off first base bag, not covering for Lawless, but given the circumstances and where the infield was shifted, that turns out to be a really solid hit for Sawyer Black. He went hitless in yesterday's game, 0 for 4 against Orleans. So just to get back on the horse and get over to first base on your first try has got to be a really good feeling.
Ray Velasquez amidst an 0 for 10 at the plate. Shows to bunt and pops it foul. Well, the first time these two teams met, that was opening day, and of course Velasquez, arguably Hyannis' most consistent hitter through the first week of the season, led the team with a .389 average through the first week, but since then he's really cooled off. Behind in the count, 0-1 to Butler, with Lawless on second and Black on first. Down low.
And to accentuate how hard he's had it since, you mentioned 1 for 10, Max. That's that one hit coming on July 5th against Orleans. You go back further to the hit before that. It's on June 28th versus Falmouth, bringing the 0 for streak of sorts without that hit to 1 of 21 with 7 strikeouts.
In the air off to the right, foul and out of play. And it's counts like these when he can't really jump ahead of pitchers, and that's what makes it so tough.
And you start down 0-1 for the bunt. I heard Ben McDonald say on the Oriole broadcast a couple days ago that teams in MLB, or rather hitters in MLB, when they're down 0-1, bat under 100, versus you go ahead 1-0, it's over 300. That surely holds here on the Cape as well.
Has to work in a 2-strike count. And he lays off. Of course, the fastball only in the mid to high 80s, 86, 87 is where he sits, so the breaking ball even slower, but still tantalizing for hitters nonetheless. See, Velasquez really thought about that one. Rope down the left field line. It is a foul ball. Velasquez was out ahead, and both runners will retreat.
That's one of the hardest hit balls we've seen from Ray Velasquez in a while, though, during the game. He's had a couple nukes, of course, during batting practice, but that's the best contact that we've seen him make in a while. Just pulled it a little too much.
2 ducks on the pond for Hyannis. On a 2-2 pitch, Velasquez takes upstairs. The count runs full. Three-two is inside for ball 4, and the bases will be loaded for the top of the order, Jake Schaffner.
Well, Ray Velasquez hadn't worked a walk in 6 straight games. That is his first walk since the 29th of June at YD. He's been really having his struggles at the plate over that stretch. He had 4 strikeouts. So that has got to be as relieving for him as getting a hit. He's working a pretty long hitless and on baseless streak, but in his first plate appearance tonight, he's able to break one of them.
That will induce a mound visit. There is beginning to be some action down in the bullpen. A pitcher stretching with a medicine ball down there for Wareham. But this looks like a mound visit just to get a scouting report and calm down Josh Butler, as he's in a tough pickle right here with the bases juiced and nobody out.
And this is a really difficult time for Josh Butler to flip the order. Take Jake Schaffner alone. He's worked a couple of long counts into walks this season. Most notably in his first game back against YD on the 3rd, he worked a 10-pitch walk. And if he were to do anything like that here, obviously spells trouble for Butler with the run coming in.
Jake Schaffner has been hot at the plate. 3 hits last night, including a double. The corners are in for Wareham. Colby Turner and Landon Stripling playing even with the cut. Lawless on third, Black on second, Velasquez at first. Harbor Hawks looking to make some noise here in the last of the 3rd inning. Schaffner cues the first pitch foul. Jake walked his first time up back in the 1st inning. In the air to left center field. It's shallow. Hayden Yost over and under for to make the catch. Runner will tag from third. Stone Lawless comes in to score on the RBI sac fly, and Hyannis jumps in front. 1-0.
Jake Schaffner doing what Jake Schaffner does. He knows you just got to get fly ball contact to bring Lawless home, and he jumps on the fastball there, coming in a lot slower for Josh Butler. This Hyannis team has done very well against the fastball this year, as has Schaffner, and you see it right there. And that's the kind of small ball they're going to need to play to get that confidence back, Max, and get some runs on the board early.
Jeff Luigi had that RBI triple yesterday, and an opportunity here with 2 more still on the pond. 1 run already home for Hyannis. On a 1-0 pitch, Luigi takes outside. Butler, those are some of those uncompetitive misses we've talked about to start this at bat to Jeff.
I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of tries to tunnel it maybe with a slider, move it back in from that righty's box to home plate. But doing that against a lefty is not nearly as effective as doing it against a righty. So he might just start fresh here. Go with a fastball down the zone. But again, fastballs have been Hyannis' go-to pitches. 68% of Hyannis' hits this season have been against fastballs.
Fastball count right here. And it's upstairs.
And the crazy part about that, Graham, as you mentioned at the top of the inning, that average in the last 19 games is a shade under 300 on fastballs, yet they haven't really hit it well, shy of Schaffner's sac fly in this game.
Taken on 3-0, and that's up and away. The 3rd walk of the day for Josh Butler reloads the bases.
And we talked about at the beginning of the ball game how both of these teams have a very similar, actually the exact same walks per 9 number, and it's kind of starting now to unravel for Falmouth. For Hyannis, it has happened in the past couple games at least when relievers have come to the mound, but for Wareham, not Falmouth, for Wareham, it's kind of been from the beginning. The first batter that Butler faced was a walk, and since then, he's had 2 in this inning.
Ryan McKay, Hyannis' most consistent hitter, named an all-star today at the plate. He did strike out looking back in the 1st inning. First pitch swinging, and he fouls it off to the left. That ground ball double play still a possibility.
I wonder if, Max, we see Wareham's favorite shift against lefties, especially in the games we've seen against Hyannis, where they'll bring the 3rd baseman all the way into right field.
McKay tied for the team lead with 2 double plays grounded into. And he hits one in the air to right center field. Long run, and the catch is made. Runner will try to tag. Here comes Sawyer Black. The throw in is up the first base line. The tag is in time. A double play to end the inning. Hyannis does grab one, but we'll head to the top of the 4th inning, and Graham Nash will take us through the middle innings.
When you need to dig, lift, move, cut, or just about anything else, then dial up the rental source staffed with equipment and construction experts. They'll help you get the right machine for the job and make sure it's delivered when and where you need it. With locations across New England and the newest and most reliable inventory, Milton Rents is your local source.
When I started teaching on the Cape 30 years ago, you could buy a house on a teacher's salary. But today, teachers, public safety officers, healthcare and hospitality workers, the people who make the Cape work, are struggling to find homes they can afford. And I really worry about the kids who will follow us. I think it's time we learn to do better.
If housing on Cape Cod matters to you, join us at capehousingmatters.org.
Top of the 4th inning here at McKeon Park. Graham Nash alongside Max Schwartzberg and Giovanni Collada. Hyannis gets one back in the other half inning. They were a little bit away from 2, but a really nice play from Chase Cruson to get his momentum going forward. And look at this throw. Cuts down Sawyer Black to end the inning. But guys, when Hyannis scores first this season, historically, they've done very, very well.
And that trend has kind of not come at the same rate that it has in the month of July, Graham, that it did in June. It feels like during this last week and a half where Hyannis has struggled mightily to scrape run across in the later games. It's because that they've been not waiting too long, but they haven't had the opportunity to score runs early in those first 3 frames or so, and now they get one here.
Hunter Carnes takes a strike. His second time up to the plate. Flew out to Sawyer Black over in right field his first time up in the 1st inning. Carson Yasa still dealing on the mound. He's had a really, really strong start. 2 3-up, 3-down innings. Retired his first 8 that he faced, but then he allowed a single to Hayden Yost, and after that, things kind of started to unravel. He threw a wild pitch. Yost got into scoring position. Braden Randall after him walked, and it felt like every pitch was uncompetitive.
Well, it gets tough. You know, you get out of your rhythm once you allow a base runner, and that's why I was really interested to see.
Fly ball down the right side. Sawyer Black in right field. Retires Carnes 2 straight times.
I was just going to say that, you know, it's interesting to see how a guy responds to the first adversity he faces on any given game, and Yasa, while he was able to ultimately get out of it, had a little bit of difficulty at first. You know, the wild pitch, the walk.
Yasa, Graham, hasn't struggled with strikeouts, though, in his first 3 starts. 6 strikeouts, now 5 strikeouts in back-to-back games, and that number is still and counting for Carson Yasa. Some dirty locations on strikeout pitches today.
Colby Turner takes a ball well high. Yasa, only his 3rd start, like you mentioned. His first time starting at YD on June 29th, pitched for 2 2/3. He struck out 6, allowed 1 hit, no runs. It was a stellar start. And then at home against Brewster, he pitched for 4 innings, upped that innings pitched by an inning and a third. 2 hits, 1 run. He walked 4. That was the real hit killer. But he's only walked 1 here tonight. His 1-1 is skied on the infield. Ryan McKay is called off. Schaffner makes the play.
And we've talked ad nauseum tonight, Graham, about Mitch Karraker looking for consistency on the mound. It's really come with the starters, not so much with the bullpen. I wonder if this pitching staff and Mitch Karraker is inclined to stretch him another inning, maybe than the leash coming into the game would have, to try and take that consistency over to the late frames.
And he's only 49 pitches deep, and it's kind of been economical, and I guess Mitch Karraker probably looking at a pitch count number.
Cruson takes a ball.
There's some sort of bar they set because, you know, coming into any sort of Cape League outing, guys get ramped up as the season goes on. You see starts get deeper. Now we're really smack dab in the middle of the season. Guys going to get going.
1-1 count for Chase Cruson. Cruson grounded out his first time up. He was surrounded by 2 Ks back in the second inning. He has really struggled against Hyannis this season. 0 for 2, but he did draw 2 walks over his first 2 games against the Harbor Hawks. But he's batting in the middle of the order in the 5 spot tonight. And this is the part of the batting order, it feels like at least, that needs to kind of produce to quickly get it back to the top of the order. That's been arguably the hottest in the Cape League as of late. Foul ball, 2-2 count.
Yeah, this is kind of a top-heavy lineup for Wareham. And, of course, it's only downhill, or at least if you're on that mound, against these Gatemen once you get through those first 3 hitters. But that's not to say they're not going to take their foot off the pedals. Hyannis got to be careful to continue to pepper the zone. And Carson Yassa doing a good job here.
Yassa. It's a foul ball. Count will stay at 2-2. Yassa, over his first 2 starts, found the zone 53% of the time. He got a lot of ground balls, did a really good job along with those strikeouts, retiring batters with weak contact, but he also missed a lot. 4 walks. It's 2-2. He's fouled again.
And to signal the vote of confidence from manager Mitch Karraker, pitching coach Blaze Martinez, the bullpen for Hyannis is as idle as it's been all game long. No one's going anywhere for at least another inning.
Well, he's keeping these hitters off balance. You like to see the way that he's changing up speeds. And he's really establishing both parts of the strike zone early, on the outside and on the inside, up and down.
3 straight foul balls for Chase Cruson. Rips one down the right field line, and it's down. Sawyer Black giving it chase onto the gravel. Cruson is going to be held up at second. A 2-out stand-up double for the right fielder.
We got the crane celebration going on the double. Let's see where the pitch is. And yep, wanted it on the outside corner. He misses over the inner half, and that'll do it.
The last time that these 2 teams faced, Wareham was 8 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Tonight, they're 0 for 1 with a walk. Braden Randall walked with Hayden Yost over at second, 2 outs in the inning, and then Levi Clark struck out looking just a batter later. As Easton Breifogel tries to tie this ball game, he takes a strike on a beautiful breaking ball.
And it's going to be important to see how Yassa responds to this, because the single back in the 3rd inning, that's only a man on first. Now you got a guy in scoring position.
Breifogel struck out his first time up and is 1 strike away from doing the same again. Yassa going right back to changing up his pitch speed. Started out with that breaking ball and goes to more heat there and just totally froze Easton Breifogel. The 0-2. Well, last time that a runner got on second, which was back in the 3rd inning, we saw Yassa throw 5 straight balls to the next couple batters. He's responded much better this time to having a runner over at second base, but still needs to get the out. 1-2. Just misses. Yassa sends him back empty. Chase Cruson gets a late double, but Breifogel can't do anything about it. Still 1-0 Hyannis heading into the bottom of the 4th. Welcome back. Bottom of the fourth inning at McKeon Park as we take a little look at the stats between these two. Hyannis with a strong batting average, but ERA pretty similar, not too far off. Hyannis, of course, having the advantage, but the Gatemen just one win behind Hyannis at this point.
And that's indicative of the parity we talked about this year versus last summer, Graham, where there was a very wide gap between last place and first place, with Falmouth 15 points behind the then first place Gatemen at this time in the summer. And now just 5 points separate first and last in the West Division, with Wareham climbing out of that solo last spot with Cotuit's loss last night. And that batting average you mentioned for Hyannis, it's a deceptively good number for them because it leads the league at 263, yet we've seen that the record hasn't really reflected that strong hitting.
Devin Mitchell leads off the inning. He struck out looking his first time up. Just playing in his second game for Hyannis this season, as he came in and started as hot as you could. One at bat, one swing, one home run on his record this season. He came to the Cape working a 6-game hit streak. He's down 1-2. Attended Florence Darlington Tech College, JUCO. 6-game hit streak, 6-game on base streak to end his season. Fly ball into the shallow outfield. Van Shahan actually going to stay in, make the catch. So Devin Mitchell may be coming a little bit back to earth, but it still doesn't take away from an incredible start that he had.
And I think it's a testament to how good JUCO baseball is in this country. It's often overlooked, of course, the premier junior college baseball in California, but there's a lot of diamond in the rough schools all throughout the country. And talent.
Camacho takes a ball.
Certainly enough to get Devin Mitchell to join the Wolfpack this upcoming year, Graham. And I think the most fascinating thing about his start is that he's doing it against the best guys in the country, really for the first time since high school for him. And he comes from Oklahoma, a pretty good baseball state. And going to that league where it's not in California, maybe not some of the best JUCO competition there is, really impressive for him.
Camacho takes a strike. Gabe Camacho flew out to right field his first time up, a very deep fly ball. He's very used to those high fly balls, hard hit balls in the first inning, not just with Hyannis, but back during his last season at UCSD. UCSD played Hawaii in the final Big West Series of the 2025 season. The winner of the series would make it to the Big West tournament. Hawaii took the first game. UCSD needed to respond as he hits one to center, sending Hayden Yost back to the warning track. And he makes the catch, 2 away.
Well, 2 swings, 2 very hard outs for Gabe Camacho. And unfortunately there, he picked the wrong part of the park to hit it to. But if you're Camacho, you can't hang your head. You're seeing the ball well tonight.
To finish that thought on Gabe Camacho, Hawaii won the first game. UCSD needed to win the second to keep their postseason dreams alive. Top of the first, Gabe Camacho came up to the plate with 2 outs in the inning. Crushes a ball to center field as Charlie Bates takes a ball. He claims it was good for a double or a triple, at least. But one Matt Mura, who is now his teammate, caught it at the warning track and went flying into the fence. Now, we asked Matt Mura about this because he was down there at batting practice when Gabe Camacho told me this story. And Matt Mura said, I wasn't even at the warning track. That was an easy fly ball. I listened back to the tape, and he, in fact, did run into the wall. He's just giving Gabe Camacho a tough time. Bates lifts one to right center field. Yost trying to finish the inning. He dives and cannot make the play. First base umpire Glenn Stewart says no dice. The Gatemen dugout upset about the call, as are the outfielders.
Well, his back was completely shielded to the infield, so it's hard to tell if he truly came up with it. I thought he had it at first. Now, did he hang on?
I think that's the part, Max, on the transfer of sorts. When he hits the ground, it does the ground jar that ball loose from the mitt. Obviously can't see the mitt is shielded towards the outfield. an impossible angle to see from. Really difficult call to make, and now indeed they'll discuss it.
I mean, I feel like this is hard to overturn considering we don't have any alternate camera angles, and the call on the field was that it was a base knock for Charlie Bates. And if this gets overturned, Mitch Karraker is going to be running out onto the field.
And they say safe. 2-out single for Charlie Bates. That extends a hit streak to 5 straight for the Cardinal. After a really tough start to this season, or at least to the month of June or July, he's put on an incredible streak. He's got a .318 average in the month of July coming into this baseball game, and that's despite starting the month 0 for 10 at the plate.
And 0 for 17, Graham, in his last at the height of that stretch.
Runner goes on the first pitch. Bates can't beat down the throw. Charlie Bates gets a late single, but gets caught stealing. Still 1-0 Harbor Hawks heading into the 5th.
Owning a home means you can protect your family and put down roots in a community you care about. It gives you a place to celebrate the joys of daily living and be together during tough times. But for many on Cape Cod, home ownership is slipping further out of reach. Help make sure the American dream is available to the teachers, public safety professionals, and all the other people who make the Cape a special place. Visit capehousingmatters.org to find out more.
We made it to the 5th inning, about halfway through this ball game. It's 1-0 Hyannis. Only 4 hits between these two teams. It's been a really strong outing from both pitching staffs, and Carson Yasa still on the mound trying to make it his 5th full inning of work.
I think it's going to be a game of cat and mouse between Josh Butler and Carson Yasa. Not necessarily who can stay out longer, but more so, Graham, who can walk less batters. That was an area of focus for both of these guys entering the game, with Yasa striking out a lot as he has today, but walks being a bit of a problem for him specifically, and he's done a very good job so far of limiting those, and that's exactly why he's out for the 5th inning for the first time all season long.
The first time that Carson Yasa started was against YD on June 29th. He had a really clean first trip through the YD batting order, but the second time he ran into some trouble. He struck out 1, walked 1, allowed 4 hits and 3 runs. That's when it started to unravel, but his second time through the batting order this time, at least so far, has been very, very clean. He's just got 3 left to face the order for the second time.
And the numbers only get better for the hitters once it's 3 times through, but Yasa, he's got such elite stuff that he can negate that.
And Shahan takes a strike. It just feels like his command hasn't really wavered. He's found the zone, it feels like, every at-bat.
And we've talked about uncompetitive misses. We haven't seen that all too often today, and those are the types of misses that lead to walks.
Back up the middle, Schaffner gets it on a hop and gets the first out of the inning.
And you mentioned command, Graham. That's implicit for Yasa with the speed of that fastball. Mitch Karraker talks about it time and time again to us, that fastball command is at the forefront for his pitchers. But how about the way he's wielded the breaking ball so far today? I think his command with that pitch has been just as good, maybe if not better, than with the fastball so far today, as it's been used on multiple wipeout strikeout pitches.
Stripling takes a ball high. Yasa, that's only his 64th pitch. He's been very, as you would say, Max, economical.
We love it. Economics, not in the classroom, though.
That one catches the outside of the zone. He's found the strike zone 62% of the time in this start. He'll find it there, and not even a thought of a swing from the batter. Bat on the shoulder the whole way. The breaking ball is working beautifully.
And it's important that he's finding the strike zone with different pitches, both the breaking ball, fastball, changeup, whatever you want to call it.
On the ground, Camacho tosses it to Yasa. 2 out.
because establishing the strike zone with different pitches really closes off the hitter's tendencies. You know, if they're a pull-happy hitter, they can't only choose one part of the strike zone if they're trying to hunt a certain type of pitch, and that's really important for Yasa to keep them off balance by having complete command over different parts of the zone with all these different types of pitches.
There is a right-hander warming up down the third base line for Hyannis. But as of now, this seems like Yasa's inning to finish, with Hayden Yost taking a strike.
And I would assume it'd be a good place to end with Yost, because I guess Mitch Karraker would probably want to avoid him going 3 times through the order. We'll see if Yost reaches here, if they just want to let him go through this remainder of the inning.
0-1. Fly down the left side. Devin Mitchell ranging into foul territory. Slides, can't quite make the grab. Turns into a long strike. Hayden Yost, he was the first batter to get a hit tonight for the Gatemen. In the 4th inning, Chase Cruson absolutely roped a double down the first base line. But other than that, Yasa has shut down this Wareham lineup. 0-2, 2 out. In for strike 3. Carson Yasa gets his third 3 up, 3 down inning of the outing. And it's still 1-0 Hyannis.
Your future begins at Dean College.
Make a difference.
Leave your mark.
Break the mold. Be a leader.
Achieve unimagined heights.
Believe in yourself. Make lifelong friends.
This is your time. Your place. Your home. Your Dean.
It all starts here at Dean College.
Hey, Harbor Hawks fans, did you know the NAC Cape Cod is the official Light Up the Park sponsor of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks all season long? Thanks to the NAC, the lights at McKeon Park stay bright all summer as the future stars take the field. With 2 convenient locations in Orleans and Hyannis, the NAC is the perfect spot for a burger, taco, sandwich, and much more. Visit thenaccapecod.com to learn more or order online. Bottom of the 5th inning, Hyannis still with a 1-0 lead. And the Gatemen making the first pitching change of the ball game. It's going to be a tough part of the order to come into. Stone Lawless, Sawyer Black, and Ray Velasquez have all gotten on base in this ball game in their respective first plate appearances. It's going to be Hudson Rowan on the mound for the Gatemen, left-hander. Last made an appearance against Katuitt on July 6th. 2 innings, 3 hits, 4 runs, all of which were earned. He walked 3 and struck out 2. He's trying to get back on the wagon with a good performance here. He did pitch against Hyannis on June 14th. That was the season opener. Went for 1 2/3. No hits, no runs, no walks, struck out 3. 1-0. Finds the zone.
And it brings the end to a pretty solid day for Josh Butler, the Wareham starter. Stretches 4 innings, allows just 1 hit, does allow a run, walks 3 and strikes out 3. And definitely a solid start for the Wareham righty hurler.
Stone Lawless got hit by a pitch his first time up. It was one of 3 free passes in the inning, as Ray Velasquez, just 2 batters later, drew a walk, and then Luigi, 2 batters after Velasquez, drew one as well. But Stone Lawless was the only one to come home. Sawyer Black nearly did, but he got caught by Chase Cruson trying to tag. And Stone Lawless up a healthy 3-1 count. Well, we couldn't believe that Hyannis didn't have more hits, frankly, with Josh Butler, because his fastball was coming in at 87, 88, and that's a 5-pitch walk. That's now 4 in the day for Wareham. Giving free passes to Hyannis, that can be very costly.
It sure can, especially when this is a lineup that's got the power to torch you for more runs than it would have been had you not dished out those free passes with guys such as Gabe Camacho and Stone Lawless in the lineup. We've seen also Sawyer Black hit a home run this season, a 3-run shot at Falmouth 2 days ago.
Makes contact on the first pitch. It's right at Shahan. They try to tag up 2, and they will. Van Shahan caught Lawless sleeping, and they double up.
Well, they always teach you to freeze on the liner. Lawless got fooled by the swing. It was hit very hard, but he was off to the races, and that one unfortunately resulting in that double play.
That's the second time that a leadoff walk for Hyannis has turned into a double play. The first was Jake Schaffner in the first inning when Jeff Luigi grounded into one.
And that's the second non-ground ball double play for the Harbor Hawks.
Ray Velasquez makes contact. Right center field. Chase Cruson is there for the third of the inning. Hudson Rowan faces the minimum in his first inning of work. 1-0 Hyannis.
If you can dream it, if you can cruise in it, if you can summer in it, fish from it, or take it for a day at the beach, we can protect it. The Baldwin Group. Protecting the possible.
There hasn't been a ton of training when it comes to bat speed or products for players to be able to train bat speed. You can improve your bat speed and reach your goals working 10 to 15 minutes a day on this a couple of times a week. That's a no-brainer for every player.
Cape Cod 5 is proud to be the official banking partner of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod 5 offers a broad range of financial products and services tailored for every stage in your financial journey. Reach out to us. We're here to help.
Top of the 6th inning, Hyannis making a pitching change along with Falmouth. Hyannis, they had a pretty good start to that last inning against the new hurler, but couldn't quite do anything with it, as we're still waiting to find the number for this pitcher.
It's Chris Diaz. He had his number switched on our roster.
One of a couple new Harbor Hawks pitchers entering this week, Graham. A native of Hialeah, Florida, a rising junior at Florida Gulf Coast, and just activated a couple days ago, now slotting in for some of the guys we've seen shut down, most notably Santi Garcia, one of Hyannis' best middle relievers, taking over for Carson Yasa after an incredible outing from the righty starter. 7 strikeouts, new season high for him, Graham, just 1 walk. That was a point of focus coming into this game for Carson Yasa after he walked multiple batters in each of his outings so far this season. Just allows the 2 hits, no runs, so a clean sheet for Yasa in both his longest outing of the season and the one in which he strikes out the most and walks the least.
The 4.80 ERA for Chris Diaz at Florida Gulf Coast this last season. Over 75 innings pitched. He was a starter. 13 appearances, 12 starts, and he faces the top of the order. Braden Randall, Levi Clark, Hunter Carnes, 1, 2, 3. They are combined 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts, and then Randall drew a walk back in the 3rd inning. Diaz delivers a strike, his first on the Cape.
And interestingly, for Chris Diaz, he comes into this outing mostly as a starter, as you mentioned, Graham, for Florida Gulf Coast. Pitched in 2 complete games this past spring. And so now to see the order for a 3rd time like this, it's almost like, from a pitching perspective, Hyannis is turning over a new leaf because he's got such good starting experience this past year.
His 1-1 just misses. But Max, the mentality is so much different for a guy who spent his entire collegiate season pretty much starting to make his first against this kind of talent relieving. That's a huge mental switch. The 2-1. Taken to left field. Sawyer Black in position makes the out.
And definitely the adjustment is easier going from a starter to a reliever than reliever to starter. But nonetheless, change can be hard, and at least so far in a one-batter sample, he's responded well, but of course we'll have to wait and see.
Levi Clark comes up for a third time. He's 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. Clark, he's one of the hottest batters right now in the Cape League, but Carson Yassa did a really good job pitching to him. It felt like everything that Yassa threw at this guy was breaking and very low in the zone. That one's fouled off.
Yeah, he's very much so a fastball hitter, as are your average hitter, but what Yassa did really well was change up speed strategically. You know, if he really has his eyes set on a fastball, go into that change, go into that breaking ball, and keeping him off balance, and that's one of the reasons why he punched out both times up against Yassa.
Twirls out of the way.
Dance move right there.
Hyannis has only walked 1. It was a very, very clean start for Carson Yassa, but now the age-old question for this team right now is, can the relievers lock it down? Great response pitch there.
And in the past couple of games, Graham, that's been the opposite of what's happened. Take last night against Orleans as a prime example of that. With just 2 walks in the first 4 frames, you had 5 more in from the 5th on.
Swing and a miss, foul tip. Back into the glove, strike 3. 3 strikeouts for Levi Clark, and 2 down for Chris Diaz.
Well, the game of baseball is unforgiving. You could be on top of the world, and then all of a sudden you're 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs. How about that slider, or maybe a sweeper, started on the inner half of the plate, ended off the plate towards the left-handed batter's box. I say it a lot, hitting a baseball is a hard thing to do.
Hunter Carnes 0 for 2. Both flyouts are to right field. This time he sends a fly ball to center. Charlie Bates takes a couple steps back and ends the inning. 3 up, 3 down for Chris Diaz in his first inning of work. As we are going to stay here and hear from our Ava Fernandez in just a moment. For Carson Yassa to deliver that kind of start, for Chris Diaz to come right out and deliver a good first inning of work as well, has got to give Mitch Karraker such a big boost of confidence because of how he has struggled, or because of how the relievers have struggled in the month of July. But Hyannis still with that 1-0 lead heading into the bottom of the 6th, as we will head down to Ava Fernandez. Ava?
Hey guys, I'm down on the field with Ava Fernandez just throughout the first pitch. Ava, how was it?
The pitch was awesome. I think it was pretty good. How are you? You caught it.
It was good. What do you think the velocity was on it?
What was it?
What do you think the velocity on the pitch was? How hard?
Oh, God. Maybe like...
I'd say 90 miles an hour around.
90? I would say like 60 maybe.
Not bad. Not bad.
Not bad.
What else you got?
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Good one. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Woo!
Happy birthday, Ava, and thank you, Brody Briggs, for the interview. Our first time sending it to and getting it back from Brody Briggs. He's got an off day today, as it's Stone Lawless who is doing the catching. Another interesting routine for Mitch Karraker and this Hyannis team is that the catchers go back and forth trading starts. We saw it with Von Lackey and Brody Briggs, and then Von Lackey goes to USA Baseball, and comes Stone Lawless, and now Lawless and Brody Briggs are trading starts. When we first realized that Mitch Karraker was doing this, we kind of felt like it would be hard for some of these catchers to find their momentum, especially at the plate. And while that could be said for Brody Briggs, Stone Lawless has done a really good job.
I think he has done a very good job. And, Graham, I think that's because he's used to starting a lot. Cannon Peebles, a former Harbor Hawk a year ago here in Hyannis, was the primary starter for the Volunteers. But Stone Lawless started 13 of the 21 games he played in last spring for Tennessee. And so he's done a remarkable job of handling that sporadic playtime.
First pitch bounces into Jake Schaffner. Schaffner has not had a registered at bat yet. He walked his first time up and then hit a sac fly to left field. And that brought in Stone Lawless for the 1 run of the ball game. Schaffner quietly working his 6-game on base streak. It hasn't been the flashiest for him, although his last game had a 3-for-5 performance, but he's been really drawing walks consistently. Foul ball straight back, count moves to 1-2. He drew 3 walks, or had 3 games in a row with a walk from the 4th to the 8th. Those were his first 3 games back from injury. Didn't have a hit in 2 of the 3. Had a 1-for-4 performance against Bourne on July 8th, and that was pretty much it. Takes upstairs. But for that 3-for-5 performance to come through for Jake Schaffner, that feels like it totally lit a candle for him. And he's worked a count full.
He's a guy who hits for a prolific average, and I've asked him, you know, what makes hitting lefties so difficult? And he says it's the arm angle. It's coming in from a weirder slot and hitting that left-on-left breaking ball.
Full count taken to left field. In position, Breyfogle. 1 away.
As I was saying, just like that breaking ball left-on-left is so difficult. He thinks it's the hardest pitch to hit in baseball, and I would agree with him. At least right on right from my memory, that slider to the outside corner was difficult enough. I can't imagine it from that weird arm angle.
Here comes Jeff Lugie with a .324 batting average. He's 0 for 1 with a walk on the day. That one that he put in play was a grounder into a double that retired Schaffner just ahead of him. But he's had a red-hot start to the season. Played 2 games in June, got hits in both of them. Had a .400 average exiting the month of June, and he's batting .321 this month as well. But he's down 0-2. It seems like that high fastball, a little bit inside, has given him a lot of trouble. But as of late, he's got multi-hit performances in 3 of his last 4. He seemed to correct his mistakes. Chopper right back up the middle, charging Shahan. The throw in time.
Well, it wasn't hit hard. He had to hurry as Lugie's chugging it down that first base line.
That brings up Ryan McKay. McKay 1 of 2 to have played in both games against Wareham. That shows you how much roster turnover this team has quietly had, because it didn't feel like at the beginning that they had that much, but all of a sudden the lineup looks entirely different.
That's not necessarily the case for the Gatemen, where 5 of the 9 were on the roster when the teams played last, and they played 6 days apart, on opening day and then again on the Friday after opening day.
Hit softly into shallow left field, and Breyfogle ends the inning. 3 up, 3 down, again for Hudson Rowan. And it's still 1-0 Hyannis heading into the top of the 7th. Giovanni Collada will take us home here on Cape League TV.
You can make any bat feel lighter by adding a velo puck knob. Instead of having to go get a whole entirely new bat, you can simply add the puck to it. Players can use this with any bat. It's basically going to shift the weight of the bat a little bit more towards the hands. Players are able to hit the ball a lot harder just by simply adding the puck on.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
Time for the top of the 7th already at McKeon Park. And it is a pitcher's duel for the ages. These 2 squads have done a great job. As we reveal the Who's That Harbor Hawk answer, it's Sean Manaya, journeyman across MLB, here with Hyannis at one point in his baseball career. Max, he's had himself a pretty prolific MLB career.
He has. He's thrown a no-hitter. Not a lot of guys could say they've done that. I believe he got paid this past offseason too, as we see Daniel Battolino, center field. What's up, D-Bot?
Always hard at work during these games. Not the first time he's had to go out to center field mid-game today. Take that into account, folks. Still Christopher Diaz atop the bump for Hyannis. Meanwhile, 4, 5, and 6 due up for the Gatemen as we turn the page to the top of the 7th inning. Just a true pitcher's duel tonight, Max, and both teams' pitching staffs have done remarkably.
Yeah, they really have, and here's where it gets interesting because there's not a lot of room for error, and we know the scouting report, at least on Hyannis, we mentioned at the top of the show that 3.12 starter ERA that has been lowered thanks to Carson Yasa. Bullpen, this is a big test for them now in a pitcher's duel where you have pretty much zero room for error.
The numbers have sure favored Hyannis thus far. First ball to Colby Turner, muscle to short, a sliding Schaffner spins and makes out number 1. A web gem in the 6th hole from Jake Schaffner.
What a play on both sides. Smooth like silk. And what a pick by Camacho. Get that on best of the nest.
He has dug out multiple balls at first base. And Camacho and Schaffner have got synergy across the diamond for the first out of the 7th. And here's Chase Cruson. Couple of hard hit balls. One a ground out, the other a double with 2 outs in the 4th. He takes a first pitch fastball from Diaz. Chase Cruson out of UCF, a rising junior for the Knights. Cues the 0-1 foul. Spent his freshman season at Duke. Had his first career 5-hit game this past spring at UCF. And has done remarkably of late with the Gatemen. Multiple hits in 3 of his last 4. 0-2. Sliced foul.
5 hits in the game. That's a cool accomplishment. I don't think I ever got there. I think 4 in about 9U baseball is probably the best it got.
That's pretty impressive. A 4 for 4 or 4 for 5? Well,
as you know, as I got older, the hits kind of took a little downturn.
Swing and a miss. Cruson K's up for the first time today. It's strikeout number 9 of the game for Hyannis and the 2nd for Chris Diaz.
Well, an elevated breaking ball right there. And that's called changing the eye levels. You don't always see that. It looks so good to you as a hitter. Your eyes get all big, and then you're just way too early on it. You swing right through it.
Now Vance Shahan to the plate. Lefty 0 for 2 today with a strikeout. Rips it foul.
And what's impressive is the first pitch strikes tonight. It really hasn't been the same story this season for Hyannis, and that's the reason why they're maintaining this 1-0 lead so far.
Diaz is 0-1. Another foul ball from Vance Shahan. On his way to the University of Miami after 2 years with USC Upstate. Shahan's been with the Gatemen since day 1, but has only recently begun to heat up. A couple of hits in each of his last 3. Infield shifts him slightly to pull. 0-2. He stays alive. And Diaz, Max, looking for the 4th 1-2-3 frame of the game. As this is my mistake. This is Easton Breifogel with 3 strikeouts tonight. How does Diaz get a 4th here?
You just got to stay on the corners right here because it looks like Breifogel really having trouble finding the black of the plate, but just don't miss over the heart.
0-2. Strike 3. Breifogel 0 for 4 with 4 Ks. Diaz works a 1-2-3. It's time to stretch on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network.
When you need to dig, lift, move, cut, or just about anything else, then dial up the Rental Source staffed with equipment and construction experts. They'll help you get the right machine for the job and make sure it's delivered when and where you need it. With locations across New England and the newest and most reliable inventory, Milton Rents is your local source.
When I started teaching on the Cape 30 years ago, you could buy a house on a teacher's salary. But today, teachers, public safety officers, healthcare and hospitality workers, the people who make the Cape work, are struggling to find homes they can afford. And I really worry about the kids who will follow us. I think it's time we learn to do better.
If housing on Cape Cod matters to you, join us at capehousingmatters.org.
Time for the bottom of the 7th on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. It's a pitcher's duel for the ages between the Hawks and the Gatemen. It's time for our favorite segment in this close matchup. Time to beat D-Bot. D-Bot, it's been kind of like the Harbor Hawks season so far. You had a slump in the middle of it. Now you're turning it up and looking to get that record back to 500.
Yeah, I think you're doing a bit of a disservice to the Harbor Hawks by saying that. They're above 500. I'm below 500. 10, 19,
this is true. I tried to be nice.
9, 10, 19. I've gotten a few games off, you know. Taking some me time, taking some time to catch a breather.
And also studying during the games off, just like research or?
You know, no.
Okay.
I try to keep this an honest game.
No rule says that you can't do some studying.
D-Bot, we saw you in center field. I don't know if you were mulling it over then, but your player is batting 9th tonight for Wareham. The shortstop, Ban Sheehan, on his way to Miami from USC Upstate as Devin Mitchell takes the first ball outside.
Ooh. USC Upstate, that's a good one.
This is a good baseball school, too, on the East Coast. I'm surprised that this isn't as inherent for you as it might be.
USC Upstate. It's not like... Oh, my gosh. They're green. I can picture... But that's the big thing here is this is another team with their logo not in their... Or their mascot not in their logo.
Would it help, D-Bot, if I told you we've given you this exact one this season?
You given me USC Upstate before?
We have indeed, on this very player. Devin Mitchell down 1-2.
I didn't want to tell him that till after, because then he might cycle
we didn't think he'd struggle
this doesn't
much.
count as
no,
a loss.
Oh, it sure does. There's no rule against repeats.
In fact, it's more embarrassing against you.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Tap back behind the backstop. Got to complete the out. And he does, just barely. A strikeout for Devin Mitchell to begin the 7th.
Oh, my gosh. All right. I got to get off air eventually, so.
We love having you.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
I love the sound of your voice.
All right, we'll go the Riptide.
The Spartans.
Sure.
But a valiant effort, D-Bot, as always.
Yeah, gosh. All right, you know what? I don't even know
now
what to say at this
below
point.
500, though.
I don't even know what to say at this point. I mean, I'm just so inconsistent, and, you know, I'm just going to keep on talking so I don't have to go back and do my job. But, man, I'm kidding. All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, D-Bot. Gabe Camacho down 0-1. Now levels the count. Camacho's had a pair of long outs tonight. A fly out to right that took Chase Cruz into the track, and a fly out to center that took Hayden Yost to the base of the wall. He lifts this down the third baseline. It drifts out of play. And Camacho, Max, has power to leave the yard from anywhere. Yet tonight he's just been a hair under the ball a bit.
I mean, he arguably hit the ball to center field better. I mean, the ball to right, exit velocity was at 98. He just skied it. He's got way too under it.
1-2. Fouled back. And the second ball as well at 98. So a couple of hard hit balls for Gabe Camacho, something he's done in batting practice. Multiple home runs over the scoreboard in right center field. Trying to put bat to ball here tonight. Swing and a miss, though. Right through the fastball from Hudson Rowan. It's a couple of strikeouts that begin the 7th.
And Harbor Hawks going to want to keep their foot on the pedal. Of course, the pitching has held the fort down, but it's all about consistent at-bats. And they got their consistency guy at the plate in Charlie Bates.
Bates is batting .318 in the last couple of games after a straight 0 for 17 stretch with 10 Ks. After that, hellish struggle for Charlie Bates. There's a triple at Brewster on July 6th that have seemingly been the spark plug for better hitting. Chops the 1-0 foul. Bates has a single in his last time up in the 4th on a sliding attempt at a grab by Hayden Yost that was ruled a drop. Bates stole on the ensuing pitch and was caught to end the 4th. Trying to spark a 2-out rally here. Rowan finds the top of the zone. Max, you said at Falmouth the other day that he has his swagger back. How does he maintain that, though, for the rest of the summer?
Well, I think it's a confidence thing.
Takes outside, and it clips the zone. Hudson Rowan strikes out the side. It's the 6th K of the game for the Gatemen as we head top 8, still in a tight battle.
When you need to dig, lift, move, cut, or just about anything else, then dial up the rental source staffed with equipment and construction experts. They'll help you get the right machine for the job and make sure it's delivered when and where you need it. With locations across New England and the newest and most reliable inventory, Milton Rents is your local source.
When I started teaching on the Cape 30 years ago, you could buy a house on a teacher's salary. But today, teachers, public safety officers, healthcare and hospitality workers, the people who make the Cape work, are struggling to find homes they can afford. And I really worry about the kids who will follow us. I think it's time we learn to do better.
If housing on Cape Cod matters to you, join us at capehousingmatters.org.
Time for the top of the 8th. Still a 1-0 Hyannis lead at McKeon Park. Let's go around the league as we check in on some scores across Cape Cod. Brewster giving it to Harwich. Katuitt now in a tie for last with the Wareham Gatemen. They lead the Bourne Braves, who have been solidified in that 3rd spot all summer long. YD just relinquished the Eastern Division lead to Brewster, but they have a lead on Falmouth, who is exactly tied with Hyannis atop of the West. And Chatham down to Orleans, a team that came in here to McKeon Park last night and beat the Hawks 6-2.
That's dicey. We've talked about there's no clear out right now. Everyone's kind of still in the mix, which was not true last year. This is anyone's season. This is anyone's ball game. And Hyannis, I'm sure that they're loving seeing that Falmouth is down, but at the same time, they've got a very slim lead. This has been super, super close.
And now Griffin Graves enters the game for Christopher Diaz, a first lefty to toe the rubber for Mitch Karraker tonight. Rising junior out of Auburn makes appearance number 4. He last went in the marathon of a game against the Bourne Braves here at McKeon Park on July 8th. Stretched 2 innings with 3 hits, allowed 2 runs and a strikeout. The most runs he's allowed in a game this season outside of that first appearance for him, Graham. The caveat to that outing for him was that he had to wait nearly over 90 minutes before entering a game that he was probably not scheduled to pitch in.
Yeah, not a very traditional entry into a ball game for sure, and it probably threw off his momentum and his rhythm entirely. That is by far one of the hardest 2 innings that he has pitched this season.
Van Shahan shows bunt and flares it foul. 7-8-9 due up for the Gatemen in the top of the 8th. The switch-hitting Shahan is 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a ground out. Out of USC Upstate, the rising junior, though, transferring to the University of Miami after he was named Big South Freshman of the Year, follows that up with a first-team All-Conference in the Big South. Batted .307 in 42 games, and he's down 0-2.
And this is what the past 2 pitchers leading to Griffin Graves have done so well. They've gotten ahead in counts. And Cheyenne, he's struggled this ballgame, as many have in this for both sides. And it's been because the pitchers have gotten ahead just like this.
Skips it into Stone Lawless. And for Griffin Graves, it was a hot start to his Cape League career on June 27th at Orleans. He ended up allowing 3 runs, but he struck out the side in relief of Richie Roman before allowing a 2-run shot to Abri Covarrubias. 1-2. Hits Sheehan on the left foot. He jogs gingerly to first base. And it's the first hit batsman by Hyannis pitching.
We said at the beginning of the ball game that in addition to a lot of walks, it feels like there's always been either an error, a wild pitch, or a hit batsman. In all of these June ball games for Hyannis, they already had a wild pitch from Carson Yassa back in the 3rd, and now they pair that with a hit batsman. That's the kind of mistakes that have been so costly for Hyannis, and in a 1-run ball game, that right there could be the difference.
To group those free passes into one number, hit by pitches, walks, and errors, Graham, Hyannis has gotten over 10 in 4 of 6. They just marred losses like walks did last night against Orleans. First ball to Landon Stripling drifts outside. Another 6 walks to Orleans for a team that is in the top 3 in the Cape Cod Baseball League in that metric, as this is Caden McDonald to the plate in the place of Lance Stripling, And he's quickly up 2-0. McDonald, out of Florida, rising redshirt sophomore, is a 2-way player. He actually pitched here against Hyannis on June 20th, while also batting against the Harbor Hawks. He takes the first strike of the at-bat. McDonald following in the footsteps of Jack Caglianone, former Florida Gator, now with the Rays. He batted 8th on the 20th, scored a couple of runs on 1 hit, as he levels the count here with a walk to end the game before, oddly enough, the guy on first base, Van Shehan, pinch hit for him. And then on the mound, he stretched 1 2/3, 4 hits, no runs, 3 Ks, and got the win. 2-2. Nearly hits him. And Lawless keeps Shehan at bay.
I think that this is just manager Ryan Smith wanting to switch it up right now because it has truly been a quiet night for Wareham batting. Hayden Yost and Chase Cruson, the only 2 with hits, those both came in the 3rd and 4th innings respectively.
He rips the full count payoff to left field. Sawyer Black to the track. He watches it fly. Wareham jump out in front. Caden McDonald absolutely turns on a ball. And they've broken the seal in this pitcher's duel.
Well, that's exactly why you pinch hit Caden McDonald. Absolutely cracked one. That was hammered off of the bat, pretty much as no doubt of a no-doubter can be here at McKeon Park. We haven't seen many balls exit on that side either. The righty just absolutely mashed it, and that's how quickly this ball game can change. Hyannis, their pitching was doing phenomenally, felt great, and all of a sudden, now the bats need to produce.
Flipped the game on its head for Caden McDonald. The righty pitcher and hitter for Ryan Smythe. Belts his 3rd homer of the year, a 2-run blast into left. A slicing foul ball, as now Griffin Graves has to settle in yet again.
Yeah, now you've got the age-old task of responding to adversity, and we have to see how Griffin Graves handles this kind of pressure. Hyannis in general as well, they are now 3rd in the Cape League as far as most home runs are allowed, 16.
Chris McHugh pinch hitting for Hayden Yost. He taps this to Ryan McKay. Gabe Camacho covers for out number 1. And now for Griffin Graves, it's now 3 out of 4 outings with a run allowed. And now 2 pinch hitters in a row for Ryan Smythe to try and switch things up on the lefty.
And we saw this from Wareham the first time these 2 teams faced off in the season opener. Wareham brought in 5 different pinch hitters, a lot of them, to be fair, in the 9th inning when Hyannis already had a pretty substantial lead. But still, Ryan Smythe is not afraid of doing this, of totally changing up his lineup to try and find something that will stick. And at least with Caden McDonald, it did exactly that.
There's 1 out. Flip the order for Braden Randall. He's not going anywhere given how much he has played this season. The rising junior at Ole Miss has played in every game but 3 for the Gatemen. And Griffin Graves with a pitch mix that includes the fastball, the slider, and a cutter, oddly enough, like what we just saw right there. And he levels the count to Braden Randall. And Graham, this is marred. The bullpen struggles have been eminent for Hyannis, and Graves obviously not devoid of that, but how does he respond in this moment?
I mean, first things first, you've got to locate the zone. You've got to get ahead in a count as your predecessors were doing.
Long fly ball for Randall. It sends a sliding Devin Mitchell to the baseline, and it drops in front of him. And just like that, it's a double for Braden Randall to keep the damage going for Griffin Graves.
Devin Mitchell, I think he just slipped. I think that's just a really unfortunate slip. He was tracking. No, he slid. He went down to a knee. He committed to the slide. I don't think he thought he was going to get there just standing up and running. But, man, that is a big play. That going from a pretty convincing fly out to a double is huge.
Now another runner in scoring position for Levi Clark, the catcher. He swings and misses through the first ball. It's been a difficult night for the rising sophomore from Tennessee. 3 strikeouts to this point, but if there's any time for him to get hot, Graham, it's right now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it would be very like Levi Clark to, in this moment when his team has found momentum, to find some himself.
Slices the 0-1 foul. Clark leads the Gatemen in average at 329. That OPS a shade under 1,000 at 984. It's also the Gatemen's home run leader at 4. And Caden McDonald just hit his 3rd. And Clark trying to break the game open. Corner infielder's pinch. And he stays alive. Clark hit double-digit home runs at Tennessee, including a 2-run blast in the Knoxville Regional Finals against Wake Forest on June 1st. Oh, it's high, and Clark remains in.
Graves showing him a healthy balance of heaters right now. He blew the first one right past Levi Clark, but we've seen Yasa and Diaz throw him a lot of breaking balls. We haven't seen fastballs to him yet.
Also comes from a first lefty of the game. Off goes the runner at second, shot foul, and he'll have to go back. That's Braden Randall.
And there was the breaking ball. That one well low in the zone. Fair play to Levi Clark for just making contact and staying alive, because he committed pretty early to that breaking ball, thinking it was going to be the heater again. But unfortunate for Randall, who got a really good jump going to 3rd.
If you're Levi Clark, are you sitting fastball or trying to jump on the breaking pitch?
At this point, you're assuming breaking pitch, if I had to guess, because it's been the put-away pitch.
1-2, a broken bat flare into left, and that sends Randall across. Sawyer Black booted it, no throw, and Wareham jump out to a 3-1 lead. Levi Clark doing what he does after 3 strikeouts. He washes away his dormant day.
And that was the breaking ball, just led right over the heart. And Levi Clark said, "Thank you very much. I'll take that to left field." And this is how quickly it can happen to Hyannis pitching. A beautiful day on the mound, starting with Yasa, going to Chris Diaz, and then all of a sudden, poof, the lead and the great pitching just kind of disappears out of thin air.
In each of the last 3 games, Hyannis has now allowed a hit, to be frank, multiple hits in the 8th inning or later. And in each of the last 2 days, Graham, it's been a home run, with Orleans hitting a 3-run blast in the 9th yesterday. And a quick 0-2 count to Hunter Carnes, the DH.
And that was the fastball there. That one located very nicely. I think that's just got to be Griffin Graves' pitch right now, because he's leaving the breaking balls over the heart.
Graves now down, or levels the count, rather. Carnes trying to snap an 0-for-3 start to this game with a trio of flyouts up to this point. We saw Levi Clark do it just a moment ago. Now his DH will try to do the same. 2-1 misses from Griffin Graves.
And this is the problem with a lot of Hyannis pitching right now, is that a lot of relievers have gone down in counts, and that gives the advantage to the batter. They can't work their way out of it.
Carnes, the rising sophomore at Florida State, runs the count full. 11 multi-hit games for Hunter Carnes this year. And here on the Cape, just 3 of his 11 appearances have not featured a hit. Trying to keep the rally going for Wareham. And he works the walk on a full count. Griffin Graves is only retired 1 of the 6 batters he's faced. And now the man that started it in the 7th inning, Colby Turner. As out comes Mitch Karraker with a righty warming in the pen.
Tough start for Griffin Graves. Only 28 pitches. 16 of those have been in the zone, but the ones that he put in the zone have been taken pretty far.
And indeed, we get a new arm. Just a difficult outing for Griffin Graves. Back-to-back such outings for the Auburn Tiger. We'll meet the new pitcher on the other side of this break. Well, it's a 4th pitcher for Mitch Karraker here in the top of the 8th inning after Wareham have put a 3 spot on the board to take the 2-run lead in this game. And Karraker turning to Zach Edwards to try and stop the bleeding. The rising sophomore out of Oregon State makes appearance number 4 for Hyannis this summer, all in relief. Last got in a couple days ago against Falmouth, stretched 1 1/3 innings, 1 hit allowed, no runs, a clean sheet with 3 strikeouts and just 1 walk in that win over the Commodores. This is a guy, Graham, that didn't allow a hit in 8 of his 16 appearances for the Beavers, and we'll try to do just that here.
And he's got some really nasty stuff, a really good 3-pitch mix, fastball, slider, changeup, and he can tunnel it all pretty well. The issue is that he's working with only 1 out in the inning and a runner already on second. So this is where you bring in one of your best pitchers in a pretty intense moment of the ball game, because Hyannis, 2 runs is not a lot. They can make up 2 runs pretty easily. The question is, can it stay there? Can the relief pitchers pick up some slack after a pretty tough outing for Griffin Graves?
And that walks per 9 for Zach Edwards at 4.4, a little lower than you might expect, given that he only walked 9 of the 83 batters he faced at Oregon State in just 18 1/3 innings. Here's Colby Turner with 2 on. He slices the first ball foul. He grounded into among the more remarkable plays in the infield from Jake Schaffner in the 7th, Max.
Yeah, he did. It was really impressive to see on both sides with him and Camacho as well.
Sliding grab from the shortstop Schaffner, and Camacho had to dig it out for the first out of the 7th. He takes low, checked the swing, and did not go around. Levi Clark on second after the single that drove in Braden Randall for run number 3. Hunter Carnes worked a full count walk against Griffin Graves before the Auburn Tiger left the game. Caden McDonald got it started with a 2-run blast with no one out in the 8th. On the breaking ball low for Zach Edwards.
Edwards is a strike thrower. He's down, which is kind of rare for him. He's found the zone on 64% of his pitches this year. That's 83 pitches, 53 strikes. So being down, that's a little bit of a danger zone for him. He hasn't been there a lot.
2-1 rip down the third base line, but foul. Edwards sitting 95-97 on the fastball. He's also got a slider and a changeup. He can dial up the gas when he wants to, Max.
Yeah, he can, and it's really impressive to see the speed differentials on that slider, 85 to 87. So 10 miles an hour is a big difference.
Fastball tops at 98 as well, among the higher marks on the team. 2-2 to Colby Turner. Lifted, foul, and he chugs along. Solid crowd on hand to see what was at one point and likely remains a pitcher's duel on the Wareham side. But for Hyannis, Graham, the bullpen pitching continues to be the Achilles heel.
Yeah, and it looked like they were going to really pull through in this ball game with Chris Diaz delivering a really strong 2 innings. Retired all 6 batters, struck out 3 that he faced, but then Griffin Graves had a lot of trouble. He couldn't really hold it together. Hit Shahan in the first at bat and then allowed a Caden McDonald home run. And I mean, that's going to rattle pretty much anyone up on the mound after Hyannis led for the first 7 full innings.
See those 7 zeros on the scoreboard. And it started with Carson Yasa, who stretched 5, allowed 2 hits, and struck out a season-high 7. Another hard-throwing righty like Edwards on the bump. 2-2. Ripped into left field. Sawyer Black makes out number 2, trying to double off Clark at second, and he slides in safely. So a fly out to Sawyer Black for Colby Turner, and a good start for Zach Edwards.
You got weak contact right on the hands, and that's exactly what you're looking for if you're Hyannis. Nothing that's threatening.
That brings up Chase Cruson, a Cape League veteran in his second summer here on Cape Cod after spending 11 games with Chatham last year. 1 for 3 on the night with a strikeout in the 7th. As he rips it into right field, a base hit in front of Devin Mitchell. Clark gets the stop sign at third as the throw comes home to Lawless. It skips to the backstop, but Clark didn't get a good enough jump to try and take home. And so now the bags are juiced with 2 gone.
Hyannis fortunate that Levi Clark didn't get a little bit of a better hop because it could be 4-1 very, very easily. But Devin Mitchell threatening with a pretty strong arm out in right field, so they did not want to send Clark around third. But it was just a little bit off the mark and a very stressful stoppage of play for Stone Lawless.
And a good enough throw from Devin Mitchell in right to keep Clark at third base. 2 outs and the bases loaded for Easton Breifogel as he swings through the first ball. Breifogel 0 for 3 tonight, ended the 7th with a strikeout. That was Chris Diaz's last batter faced before he gave way to Griffin Graves. And Breifogel is on a bit of a tear entering the game. Since May 10th, batting .361. And he's quickly down 0-2. Breifogel, a rising junior at the University of Arizona. Teammates with Mason Russell of Hyannis. Has only played in 5 games. But now enters a huge spot for Wareham. He takes low.
Wouldn't be surprised if he goes back up to the top of the strike zone because he tries to flirt with the bottom on those last couple pitches. And we mentioned that 98 gas where it tops out could be seeing a high heater.
Edwards trying to work out of trouble. 1-2 yanked outside.
Well, Lawless was setting up for it, but he just missed the location.
If you're Breifogel, I asked this to Graham earlier, Max, but are you sitting fastball or breaking pitch?
I think you always got to be ready for the fastball if a guy's on that velocity.
2-2. Chops it foul. There was the heat from Edwards.
Well, it's always sit fastball, react to breaking ball. And the only times you're really sitting on a pitch truly is when you're far ahead of a count. Of course, 2-strike count. You don't have the liberty to do that.
Fouls it straight back at our window. And Breyfogle doing a nice job here, Graham, of plate protecting.
Yeah, this is by far the longest at bat that he's had in this ball game. All 3 of his other strikeouts were pretty quick. Yasa and Chris Diaz did a good job of just sending him right back to the dugout.
Pitch 7 of the at-bat upcoming. Tapped to the first baseman, Camacho. He flips to Edwards, who covers for out number 3. Wareham strands the bases loaded, but the Gatemen take a 3-1 lead on the McDonald homer and the Clark single. Hyannis will look to respond in the bottom half.
When it comes to delicious food, the best place to start is with great appliances. And CAM Appliances is your one-stop shop for any budget with brands like Thermador, Viking, Bosch, GE, and so much more. CAM Appliances, sales, delivery, installation, and service in the heart of your home with locations in Hyannis, Nantucket, and Hanover.
If you need to dig, lift, move, grade, clear, or cut, pump, weld, clean, light, and just about anything else, dial up the rental source for the newest and the most reliable equipment in New England. Staffed with equipment and construction experts, Milton Rents, your local source.
Bottom half of the 8th, Hyannis has just relinquished the lead, and they'll bring in a new pitcher for Wareham to cover it. But first, let's look to where the Harbor Hawks are headed this week. It's at Lowell Park tomorrow, then back at McKeon Park after an off day, and then 2 straight road trips against a Bourne team that Hyannis just played a 5.5-hour marathon against. They'll go back to Veterans Field on Thursday before returning home in the last game before the All-Star break to face off against the Falmouth Commodores. Graham, a couple of games to circle on that schedule, primarily against West Division opponents.
Yeah, Hyannis needs to kind of get it started, get it cooking a little bit against those West Division opponents because they've struggled as of late. They're 5-3 against the West, but that's thanks to a lot of early wins against the division. So that's going to be huge for them, especially as we creep towards August.
Hyannis and Falmouth tied atop the West entering the night. The Commodores come here on Friday, and there's Shea Went making his 2nd appearance against the Harbor Hawks this season, 2nd at McKeon Park after he stretched 2 innings here on June 20th in a 12-6 Wareham win. He'll come into a game where his Gatemen, have just taken the lead, Max, and now it's up to the rising junior from Creighton to keep it.
Yeah, it's all about the hold right here, and maybe it's what the Harbor Hawks needed, a new look, a new fresh start, because they had that momentum in this game despite it being a 1-0 lead, and now they got to crawl back.
Went struggled with control issues for the Blue Jays in 2025. In 29 2/3 innings, he walked 31, but did strike out 38. Graham, with that kind of up-and-down pitcher, what do you expect from Hyannis here to try and exploit that? First ball to Stone Lawless, fouled back.
I think you see a lot of that. A lot of first pitch swinging, a little bit of an ambush tactic, not only because the pitcher is a little bit up and down, but also just because that's been very successful for Hyannis this season. The ambush tactic has been phenomenal for them.
And the catcher for Hyannis will try to start the comeback. He chops this foul on the third base line. For Lawless tonight, he was hit by a pitch and walked.
There's a big shift in the outfield. They're all planning for him to pull. So look down that right field line. There's nothing but green grasses. It could be happy trails if he finds it.
Lawless has got home run power as we've seen this season, along with a couple of long fly balls tonight from the likes of Gabe Camacho. Lawless batting a shade under 300 entering the game with 7 hits, one of them a long home run at YD that left the park in deep left center field. He's down 0-2 to Shea Went here. And Lawless has been a part of a rotation with Brody Briggs at catcher. He's been playing virtually on and off every day since he got here on the 27th and made his debut at Orleans. And he's managed it quite well, Graham. 0-2. Nearly hits Stone Lawless. Went seeing the first display of that lack of control.
Yeah, Lawless has come in and done pretty well right away. I mean, he went on a 2-game hit streak to start the season, 2 for 8 at Orleans, like you said, and then at YD, but then he's kind of been back and forth. A 2-hit performance against YD, a 2-hit at Falmouth.
Swings through this one, but gets a piece of it.
But he can't quite string together consistent performances, which that's kind of been the theme of the night. And the theme of the month for Hyannis and Mitch Karraker is consistency. What they need is consistency, and right now, it's kind of hard to come by.
That's certainly the case on the pitching end, as Hyannis just surrendered 3 runs in the top of the 8th. And Lawless levels the count. The Max, we talk about this pitching staff ad nauseum. It hasn't really been the free passes that's played them tonight. More.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the bigger plague?
I mean, I think the big thing is obviously in that last inning, it did start with a free pass, but it's kind of the wildness inside the zone. You had 2 extra base hits alone in that inning. The home run pinch hit by Caden McDonald, and then the double down the right field line. Really seeing some lack of command within the strike zone that we didn't see all day long.
And we say it hasn't really been the free pass in that inning. Not lightly, as Lawless strikes out, tips it into the mitt of Levi Clark for out number 1. That's now 4 straight Ks for the Gatemen pitching staff, and 7 on the night for Wareham. Look at the defensive alignment changes for Wareham amid all the pinch hitters for the Gatemen tonight. Chase Cruson now in center field. He moves over there from right. Colby Turner goes from third to right field. Chris Ramirez at short to take the spot of Vance Shahan, who moves to third base in the place of Turner. And a first pitch strike to Sawyer Black. Sawyer Black started a rally this season for Hyannis, a 3-run shot at Falmouth on the 9th. And he's down 0-2 here with a single and a line out today. He was caught trying to stretch to third base on a walk from Jeff. Well, not a walk. He wouldn't have stretched it. He was hosed out at third base from right field. And a good take here. Lifts the 1-2 into shallow left. Easton Breifogel calls off Chris Ramirez for out number 2.
And this is a really impressive response from Wareham. Their offense gets them the lead, gets them on the scoreboard for the first time tonight, and you'd think that Hyannis would come out swinging, which they have. Stone Lawless swung at pretty much every pitch that he saw, and then Sawyer Black fouled off a couple there as well before flying out. They've responded really, really well. They've kept it a pretty shut-down ball game.
Ray Velasquez watches a first pitch strike. Shea Wentz trying to get out of this inning 1-2-3. It'd be the 4th consecutive 1-2-3, rather the 5th consecutive 1-2-3 inning for the Wareham Gatemen. They now nurse a 3-1 lead, as you see there, but all in the top half of this inning. I mentioned that home run from Caden McDonald being compounded by a hit-by-pitch of Vance Shahan to begin the inning. Just 2 free passes in that frame. 4 out of the last 6 for Hyannis have featured 10 or more free passes. 0-2. And Velasquez protects the plate. Velasquez, a rising senior at Austin P, and a local kid out of Lowell, Massachusetts, in the middle of his roughest patch of the season at 1 of 21 with 7 strikeouts, including 0 for his last 10. And he rips the 0-2 to third. Shahan on a hop, skips it into first, and Landon Stripling with the stretch to end the inning. Wareham takes a 3-1 lead into the top of the ninth at McKeon Park.
Owning a home means you can protect your family and put down roots in a community you care about. It gives you a place to celebrate the joys of daily living and be together during tough times. But for many on Cape Cod, home ownership is slipping further out of reach. Help make sure the American dream is available to the teachers, public safety professionals, and all the other people who make the Cape a special place. Visit capehousingmatters.org to find out more.
3 outs remain on both sides at McKeon Park. Wareham surged ahead in the 8th inning with a barrage against Griffin Graves. Zach Edwards took it over, and he'll be tasked with getting the final 3 outs in the top of the 9th as the Harbor Hawks try to break the tie between them and the Wareham Gatemen through 3 games this season. The teams split games on the road and at home, with the Wareham Gatemen taking the last one played here at McKeon Park. And Graham, we saw a good inning from Edwards, but we saw a good inning as well from Christopher Diaz before Griffin Graves unfortunately allowed those 3 runs.
Yeah, it's all about the response, and it's all about longevity. I mean, Zach Edwards, it's a good start, but job's not finished. As one Kobe Bryant said, job is not finished, and it's all about getting through. You know, Max, job is not finished.
Just playing that clip in my head.
I can see. I see behind your eyes. It's like film.
Rip to a legend.
So we're back here for the top of the 9th. It's 7-8-9 due up for the Gatemen. Beginning with Vance Shahan. Righty checks his swing and went around. Shahan is 0 for 2 tonight, rather. In his 3rd plate appearance, he was hit by a pitch to start that barrage in the 8th, and he loses the bat. Nearly takes out one of the bat kids, but fortunately that net makes sure everyone's okay.
I think me and Graham were worried about the exact same thing. That net came in clutch.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that was headed right for the kid.
Oh my gosh. Do we have a camera replay of that third base side? Is that possible? That was scary.
Shahan will try to shake it off. It's a lefty warming up for Wareham in the bullpen as he chops this to Ray Velasquez. And a long first out across the diamond. And now the guy that turned it on its head for Wareham, not going to be coming back into the game. It is a 3rd pinch hitter of this game for the Gatemen. After Caden McDonald subbed in for Hayden Yost, or rather the Landon Stripling, the first baseman. Instead, it's Chris Ramirez, the righty. And the Cal Baptist Lancer fouls the first pitch off. He slots in at shortstop in the place of Vance Shahan, who was just retired, and slides over to 3rd. Ramirez dodges out of the way of that one.
What Edwards needs more than anything is a quick inning. He needs to get the bats back up, because the longer that Wareham delays, the more it's going to benefit them.
Launched into left center field. Both Black and Bates on it, and it's the center fielder Charlie Bates that makes out number 2. And now Chris McHugh, the last hope for Wareham to add some insurance, as after the Gatemen upped it to 6 hits in that 8th inning alone, with each team coming into that frame knotted up at 2. Hyannis hasn't scored since the first batter of the 3rd inning. First deal from Edwards. Rips right back to the pitcher. A slow hop, a slow jog, and a 1-2-3 inning for Zach Edwards to send it to the bottom of the 9th with his Harbor Hawks down 3-1. This broadcast is a copyrighted production of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Any unauthorized duplication, retransmission, or other use is strictly prohibited. Final 3 outs for the Harbor Hawks in this game. They relinquished the lead in the 8th and are trying to avoid a similar fate in the 9th after going down 1, 2, and 3 for the 5th consecutive inning against these Gatemen. To do it, it'll be the lefty for Wareham, Ty Stark out of Louisville, making another appearance here on Cape Cod for Ryan Smythe and the Gatemen. And he'll be tasked with the top of the Hyannis order, Graham.
Yeah, on the top of the order. Did pretty well early on. Schaffner and Luigi both drew walks. Schaffner also has a sac fly on his register tonight, but they have struggled ever since. Everyone for Hyannis has struggled since that 3rd inning when they scored. Charlie Bates, the only one with a hit. Stone Lawless matches him with a walk to get on base, but the pitching for Wareham has faced the minimum innings 4 through 8 so far.
Stark making a 4th appearance of the summer for Wareham. Last time out against Brewster on June 8th. He's only asked for 2/3 of an inning and did his work. Struck out 1 and sealed a victory for the Gatemen over the Whitecaps. And now 2 years for Louisville. He's put up an average ERA of 6.03 across 37 1/3 total innings. The Cardinals had a great year, and Stark was a big part of it, Max.
Yeah, he really was, and it's impressive to see how he stayed in the strike zone, and that's what he's going to want to do right here against Hyannis. But they got the right part of the order, kind of a fresh start. New pitcher, and you got the top 2 up in Schaff.
Schaffner, first lefty-lefty matchup since Hudson Rowan in the 5th inning. Weird release a bit there from Ty Stark, no?
Bringing me right back to my interview last week with Schaffner. He said it's a weird arm angle, and then you combine that type of release. This has got to be a really uncomfortable at bat, which he's equipped to face, but it's going to be tough.
There's a strike from Ty Stark. And you saw the slider on both of those pitches, Max. Schaffner told you that that's among the hardest he's ever faced.
He says the left-on-left slider is the hardest pitch to hit in baseball, and I remember right on right being tough. I can't imagine lefty-lefty.
Stark goes ahead. And this is a guy, Graham, that fired 9 multi-strikeout performances for a Louisville Cardinal team that nearly made it to Omaha. Schaffner trying to beat him here. That's a great take.
It really is, because that pitch is located the last 2 times. Stark has found the outer part of the zone very consistently. And so for Schaffner to lay off and say, no, that one's just a little bit outside is really impressive.
2-2. Chopped right off Schaffner. And he takes a walk outside. Schaffner, someone that's endured some pain this year, missed 8 games after being hit by a pitch in the wrist on June 24th against Falmouth. It's already something for him to come back. Just a tough guy.
Yeah, and he's got no leg guard there either. Right on the shin. There's no meat to guard that bone. That's got to hurt.
Schaffner was a hockey player out of Janesville, Wisconsin. He played in some serious juniors tournaments in Minnesota, so he's got the toughness. And he runs the count full.
And a football player as well, so even more toughness, to your point, Gio.
Playing both those sports has got to change your view of pain forever. Schaffner trying to channel it. 3-2. Ripped into right field. A long shift for Crusen's going to allow that to get to the base of the wall. Schaffner stretching for 2, and he's in standing up. The rally starter, Jake Schaffner, sellies atop second base. And now a base runner aboard for Jeff Luigi. It's the tying run.
Look at him go down and get this. Left on left, Schaffner. Right on the inside corner. They say the lefties love that hot spot. He almost slips around first base. Hawks got something brewing with the tying run at the plate. Hold your tickets.
I wonder what that celebration was, guys. I mean, we seem to like it up here, but...
You don't know the lore?
I don't know.
It's the Aura Farming TikToks on the kid on the boat.
You just said a bunch of words in a row that I have no understanding of.
Brody Briggs has been coming up to us last couple BPs, asked us if we knew what it was. Max?
Well, he wants a specific video on the board.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
okay.
it's that video.
That kid on a boat, He's on the front of the boat, and he's just going, oh.
So Schaffner trying to manifest it without the video. Let's see if that sort of energy inspires Jeff Lugie. Another lefty on lefty for Ty Stark atop the bump. Lugie wanted all of that one.
Very late. Swung when that was in the pretty much the catcher's mitt right there.
Lugie, the rising sophomore out of Duke, has played in as many games here on Cape Cod as he did all of last spring for the Blue Devils. He chops this right by the pitcher, Ty Stark, to the second baseman, Randall. A leaping grab. He doesn't even make the throw as Schaffner advances 90 feet away. The go-ahead runs on first.
Well, Randall might have done better if he just left that for a shortstop to get, because he had to try to stop, turn his momentum, and make it on the throw. But Ramirez, if he was able to get that, would have been able to try and make that throw on the run. Either way, it would have been bang, bang, and Lugie is extremely quick. He would have had a great chance to beat it out regardless.
Now a chance for Ryan McKay. Stark jumps ahead. And to close the book on Jeff Lugie, who stands at first, enjoyed what is perhaps the best performance of his college baseball career yesterday against Orleans. 3 for 3 with an RBI triple. As Ryan McKay tries to channel some more of what's made him this team's leader in hits.
It's tough falling behind 0-2 here. Of course, you would take a sac fly, but you want to keep the momentum rolling. Try to stay out of any outs you can, but
McKay will have to dig himself out of a hole to do it. Strike 3. McKay got a bit swing happy there. And now Ty Stark has the 8th strikeout of the day for Wareham, and a huge one here in this 9th.
Yeah, it really is, and that was just such a good pitch. McKay was well late, and that's the thing about that arm angle is the slider and the fastball. If you can mimic that release point with those two pitches, they are going to look identical until it bends away at the last second or blows by you.
Chance for Devin Mitchell to be the hero as he goes down 0-1. Mitchell, an incoming transfer at NC State from Florence Darlington Tech, a junior college in Florence, South Carolina. It's a guy that batted .399 this past spring with Flodar Tech, as it's colloquially called. Max, he started his career out here on Cape Cod with a bang, a homer in his first at-bat.
yeah, he did, and that was a long, lengthy plate appearance. Deposited right down the left field line, but he's got a favorable matchup right here.
And tried to get his second home run there.
That's the changeup right there. Started it down the middle, and it ends off the plate with that arm side tail. That is a tough pitch to face nonetheless.
31 of 70 hits for Mitchell with extra bases. Another one here would change the complexion of this game as Stark checks on Lugie at first. Jake Schaffner got this inning started with his double to right field. A celebration at second that energized Jeff Lugie enough to follow it up with a single up the middle of the infield. Excuse me, foul ball there for Mitchell to stay alive. Charlie Bates waits on deck, or rather Gabe Camacho waits on deck. Charlie Bates is in the hole. Couple of hot hitters recently, but not in this game. 3 strikeouts between the two of them. Off goes Lugie, chopped by the pitcher to short. Shahan will go the short way at second, get Lugie in the rundown. Or rather, that's Chris Ramirez. That makes out number 2 on an odd play.
What a heads-up play right there. Talk about trying to keep the leading lady off the base pass. Now you don't got a guy in scoring position. Really smart play at shortstop. Wow.
With the go-ahead run on base, with the run coming across for Jake Schaffner as he tags and goes. Perhaps no better person to have up than Gabe Camacho. A couple of long outs to go along with a strikeout last time up. One of the hardest hitters on this team. First pitch miss from Ty Stark. As Luigi doubled off along the base paths, Devin Mitchell to first on the fielder's choice. Stark an out away from a third straight Wareham win. Nearly plugs Camacho.
And this is the part of the order where they have to bear down. You got lefties galore. And Mitch Karraker says that they have to have a sharp, sound approach at the plate. Not a lot of room for error and on the biggest stage here in the ninth.
Camacho jumps on the 2-0. And if you can get it to Charlie Bates with a chance, for someone that's got his swagger back, Graham, that could be a golden opportunity.
Yeah, that's all you're really trying to do here. I feel like if you're Camacho, survive in advance, bring up the hot hand. That can be really devastating to Wareham.
Stark fires one away from Clark, and Devin Mitchell takes second. The tying run in scoring position for Gabe Camacho.
Those are the things that have really been costly to Hyannis in late ball games, but now they're on the other side of it. They're trying to take advantage of a really big miss right now in this situation. Tying run is in scoring position.
Camacho in a favorable count. And he jumps on it. A fly ball on the infield. Chris Ramirez flashes the leather for a third straight Wareham Gatemen win. It's an explosive 8th inning. A homer from Caden McDonald gives the Gatemen that go-ahead lead. And they beat the Harbor Hawks 3-2.
Really tough one for Mitch Karraker's squad, and we talked about it at the top of the show. It's going to come down to the bullpen. And while it wasn't a freebie-heavy day, that inning with Griffin Graves coming in after an excellent start from Carson Yassa, 2 more great innings out of the bullpen from Chris Diaz. It's a tough one for Mitch Karraker's squad to drop one like this. They're going to have to reset going into tomorrow.
Wareham does out-hit Hyannis. Neither team commits an error. For Hyannis, that is a marked accomplishment as errors have marred this recent month for the Harbor Hawks. Coming up, don't miss Hawk Talk Live. We'll have an interview with Mitch Karraker to break down the loss to Wareham, and we will break it down up here in the booth as well. We'll see you on the other side of this short break. Hawk Talk Live coming up next.
Here at the Mass State Lottery, we're known for our monster wins. But there's no bigger win than the $1 billion we provide each year to support all 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. In our game, we know that supporting local businesses and helping communities is how we all win. Because at the lottery, we're all playing for the home team. The Mass State Lottery. Welcome to the state of winning.
Well, the dog days of summer continue to bring losses for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks as they drop to the Wareham Gatemen 3-2 here at McKeon Park. It's time for Hawk Talk Live on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. We'll have an interview with manager Mitch Karraker after a brief post-game show here on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. Giovanni Collada with Max Schwartzberg. Graham Nash will be with Mitch Karraker in just a moment. Max, we mentioned before this game that starting pitching had been rock solid for Hyannis, yet the bullpen hadn't been able to bring it home, and we saw that here tonight.
And it really manifested, as you said, Gio. Carson Yassa was electric out of the gun for Mitch Karraker. 5 strong innings. The strikeout number's very high there. And we talked about it a little bit before we started this Hawk Talk, that it didn't seem that the free passes necessarily were the dagger tonight, but it was a game there was just not a lot of room for error. And that, late inning, it really came back to bite Hyannis.
It sure did. After that start from Yassa, in which he stretches 5 innings and fans a season-high 7, just 2 walks on the night for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, along with 1 hit batsman and no errors for the first time since the beginning of the month. Max, with that combination of free passes as it is, what do you think plagued them outside of that?
Well, I think one of the free passes really sticks out to me first. That's the hit by pitch by Griffin Graves to start the 8th inning. And that run ended up being the difference in this game because Hyannis brought it back within the 1 here in the 9th inning, and they lose 3-2 because it was a 2-run shot instead of a solo. But I think there's a lot of different factors that can come into this one. Hyannis' pitching, at the end of the day, it was very strong today, but I think it's really frustrating to see that one like that could just be so costly.
Mitch Karraker will join Graham Nash in just a moment to break it all down. Pre-game, Max, he said that he was looking for consistency out of his pitching staff. Yes, from Carson Yassa, who certainly gave it to him today with that 5-inning outing, but from his bullpen as well. He goes to Christopher Diaz, who works 2 innings scoreless, then to Griffin Graves, where the runs go on the board, and then he hands it to Zach Edwards, who shuts it down. What do you make of the bullpen's performance despite allowing the runs again?
Obviously, it's the lone blemish that really sticks out, but let's not take away the fact that it was a very good day pitching-wise. And it was honestly the offense that fell cold today. I mean, only 2 runs and really 1 run through the first 8 innings. They finally get one in the 9th, but we mentioned they went down in order 6 times in a row through 6 straight innings. That just can't happen if you're Mitch Karraker. And in a season where the offense has been the spark plug, right? The offense still leads the Cape League in batting average and OPS. Tonight, the offense didn't have it, and as Graham said at the top of the show, it seems like they're a little bit out of sync. When the offense doesn't have it, the pitching doesn't have it. When the pitching does have it, the offense doesn't seem to have it. And that's just, unfortunately, Gio, what happened tonight.
A frustrating rotation there, right? When it feels like one thing is going, it tips the scales the other way and results in the same loss that Hyannis has been marred with this month. July has not been kind to the Harbor Hawks as they entered tonight, Max, tied with Falmouth atop the West Division. The Commodores currently in action against the Braves, so rather the West Division opponent. So we'll see what the resolution is there and see if Hyannis ends the night atop the West Division as they've relinquished the lead for the first time this summer. But let's revisit the bats, Max, because you said that that was the pain point for Hyannis tonight because the pitching actually did pretty well despite that run allowed. They showed flashes of life in that 9th inning, but overall strikeouts continue to hurt them.
Yeah, and at some point, as Mitch Karraker seems to be ready with Graham Nash.
Let's see Graham Nash with manager Mitch Karraker here on Hawk Talk Live.
All right, thanks so much, Gio. Coach, another really close game that has resulted in a loss. In these 1-2 run innings that come down to the last frame, what do you feel like has been the difference?
Oh, man, just needed a swing when we needed it most, and we couldn't get it. We felt like we had a good part of our lineup in there at the end and gave ourselves a chance to win. It just didn't fall for us.
You're constantly talking to us about free passes and how you want to see those cleaned up. Still some pitching struggles, but only 2 walks. Are you taking that as more of a bright spot going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the pitching was phenomenal from start to finish tonight. They gave us a chance to win. Offensively, we scuffled in the middle innings. I thought our approach was good. We took some good swings. It just didn't go our way.
Looking forward, a lot of games coming up against West Division teams in a time when things are kind of getting tight. What are you looking for specifically in these upcoming games to get those wins?
Yeah, I think just consistency. If our pitching staff can throw like they did tonight, they're going to give us a chance. Offensively, we just need to stay with it. Eventually, the balls will fall for us. It feels like it's been an uphill battle for a lot of the year, and our guys are working hard to fix that. And so just need to stay on their own side, stay positive, and we'll see what happens.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Graham. And tonight, Max, we heard Mitch Karraker say just then that he was proud of the consistency on the pitching staff, but staying positive that the balls will fall offensively seems to be the key.
Yeah, and you got to take positives where there were. Of course, the pitching staff, a big improvement going back from what we've seen over the last couple days, but, you know, at least offensively, it wasn't the Harbor Hawks night tonight, and we mentioned this is the team, this is the offense that is going to carry them through the remainder of this season. And I don't think there's a lot to be too worried about in terms of offensive production, but you can take the positives of how the pitching did tonight while also being frustrated that the offense didn't have their backs, but then go into tomorrow against Cotuit with the confidence that the offense is going to be rebounding and you're going off a great pitching night.
We mentioned that Falmouth right on the tail of Hyannis entering tonight. The Commodores dropped 4-1 to YD, so I got confused with the Braves, the YD Red Sox, both red teams. Have to forgive me there. But this continues to be a cat-and-mouse game between Falmouth and Hyannis, a team that the Harbor Hawks have swept so far this season if it comes down to any sort of tiebreaker. But another crucial West Division battle on tap to be filled with a week of West Division opponents, Max, and they'll have to get positive real quick.
Yeah, and Mitch Karraker just going to be looking for that Hyannis identity that we saw earlier in this season, because Hyannis started the year red hot, Falmouth a little bit slower, and honestly, if you're, of course, on the outside looking in, you'd rather be Falmouth because they're still playing a better brand of baseball than Mitch Karraker's squad is right now, but I know we've talked about it before, but it is true. It's better for this slump to be happening now than it is late July, come early August. Hyannis, the early June power surge really showed that they are a great baseball team, that they have the potential to have a 5-6 game lead over the West. Unfortunately, during this losing streak, that has really shrunk. But you know, it's a position where Hyannis has to understand something has to give. They have to find that sense of consistency soon, but they have a lot of time to figure it out. And it's good it's not happening, you know, July 30th.
And I feel like, Max, you say that so aptly. Something has to give. But we feel like Mitch Karraker has said this time and time again, where balls are going to fall. We're going to get consistency from the pitching staff, especially on the end of not giving out free passes. But to what extent does it come down to a philosophical change rather than something tipping your way?
Well, games need to go like they did tonight in the sense of the pitching. If the pitching could put up a performance like this, Gio, that's going to be a position where they're going to win because, you know, 9 times out of 10, Hyannis is going to win this game based on how their offense is doing. So I think if you look at it philosophically, whatever you want to talk about, I think it all comes down to having that sense of consistency together because let's take this kind of losing skid Hyannis has gone through, right? It's been the pitching which has been this problem. The offensive has been there, but the pitching hasn't had their back. So this is the one paradoxical night. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out on either side. So I think that if they can maintain some pitching momentum from this game, they have nothing to worry about. They'll be able to get more in rhythm, and especially as they go towards the All-Star break, have a nice little reset with those 2 games off this upcoming weekend.
The All-Star break coming up a week from today at Red Wilson Field, home of the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. And Max, let's take a look as we get to this upcoming week, a pivotal one for the Harbor Hawks. The task of getting back into rhythm begins tomorrow against the Cotuit Kettleers, a team that run-ruled Hyannis last time these two teams played here at McKeon Park. What has to change for Hyannis going into that game tomorrow?
Well, they need to keep the free passes low. And let's go back to the first time these two teams played on June 21st. That was a pitcher's duel that Hyannis won because the bullpen was electric. And that was before this whole kind of bullpen blunder over the last 2 or so weeks. Hyannis only won that game 3-1, and it was behind a 2-homer game from Chris Rembert, who, of course, is no longer with the team. He hasn't been here for a while. So the Harbor Hawks, they're going to need to look to their offense, of course, to lead the way, as it has pretty much this whole season outside of tonight, Gio. But the pitching's going to need to lock it down, and they're really going to have to hone down on limiting walks, limiting errors, limiting wild pitches, all those freebies that can result in runs for opponents.
We'll see if they can do just that tomorrow at Lowell Park against Cotuit. That's going to do it for us here on Hawk Talk Live on the Harbor Hawks Baseball Network. We will talk to you tomorrow, Diamond Side at Lowell Park, as Hyannis travels to Cotuit for a second time this summer to face off against the Kettleers. For our entire crew here at McKeon Park, for Charlie Adams, our producer, for Daniel Bottolino and Sam Montag, our other production assistants, and for Ava Fernandez, Ethan Wax, our sideline reporters, for Graham Nash and Max Schwartzberg, my wonderful partners, I'm Giovanni Collada saying so long and good night.
I think, Dean, they're allowing you to find your own success and your own true independence.
Dean is a whole group of all different kinds of people and communities.
Since I've come to Dean, I've learned a lot of time management skills.
Our community is especially tight-knit, and the majority of our students live on campus. And you are guaranteed 4 years of housing while you attend Dean.
Dean is just full of opportunities for you to embrace, to welcome, so you can change yourself to who you want to be and form your career for the future.
So go through that, all right? Think that way.
Be a bulldog. Have a bulldog mentality in everything you do in life, whether you're playing sports or in the classroom or just socializing around campus.
When it comes to delicious food, the best place to start is with great appliances. And CAM Appliances is your one-stop shop for any budget with brands like Thermador, Viking, Bosch, GE, and so much more. CAM Appliances, sales, delivery, installation, and service in the heart of your home with locations in Hyannis, Nantucket, and Hanover.